Those updates you're about to see Adara and Sharif right now.
Go get them. Yes, what is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to weasel on over from the other chat. Bears versus Bulls already hanging out. What's up to the world's greatest mod? But just waiting for everyone to come on over. There we go. We got Picky Eater. We got Benson. Good morning to you as well. Great week, says Picky Eater. Black Sheep Trades. We got stock up with the Piper. Hey, Davis. Thanks, Ram. He says. Ricky Peters, Jimmy J, Odyssey Fights, as well as Borhut and Peter. Soul Queen 88, Myth and Matthew. We got Alaric B, we got Ronaldo, we got Yannick as well, we got Livu Roska, okay. We got Matthew Booth and Amin Hurry, that's a hell of a name. Dam and Blue Arrow, Matthew Cabral. We got Starvin' Like, I feel a little hungry right now, I could go for some food. We got TX Trader and Coin Clockin' Tax, as well as Andrew Chow. Good morning, Dara.
Good morning, how are you on this fine Monday?
I cannot complain, a little, just tired from the weekend, but we'll weasel our way into it. How's everything on your side of the desk?
Things are going well here. I have one trade to talk about. It's a little bit meh. One of the things I'm still working on is not sitting down and immediately taking a trade. This one I stand by though, because I did wait. I wanted my stock sell short. We get below the 90 MA, we get a nice little topping tail candle. I say, don't mind if I do. Then it turns out I would have minded if I didn't, because right after I get in, I realized we kind of had a bullish candle right before this. I ended up losing, I want to say 15, 20 pennies. I had a pretty small position in this. Basically, I was looking to see a change in the tape to the upside. We were making lower highs in the tape. I get in, then we immediately pop back up. It's been pretty rangy here. I think if I focus, you're able to probably take maybe 20 pennies on this stock style, this flippity flop. That's something I'm considering, but it's not anything I'm comfortable taking as of right now, just because it has been, I think this range is getting a bit tighter, and I want to wait and see how this ends up manifesting. CrowdStrike, kind of interesting to me though as well. I initially sat down and was like, time for a tasty little short here at CrowdStrike. 271 here below 90 MA. Happy I didn't take that. Pops up about $4. CrowdStrike here, if we bounce off VWAP, I'm interested in long. If we break below VWAP, I could be enticed to play a short, but again, not rushing into anything. A little bit more tired today, so trying to behave with my tired trading rules and make sure I don't rush into anything without some confluence.
Yeah, I gotta echo that sentiment. So hopefully you and I will both wake up and we'll smash some good trades. So let's use the lesson to help wake us on up. I hope you guys are not sleeping along and have your listening hat on, because it's going to be a good couple of weeks. I think we're going to spend another 2 weeks on gaps, really get to know each different type of gap, how to trade it, and a little bit more of the nuances. So welcome, traders. Today's lesson dives into the world of gaps in technical analysis. So let's get right to it. There's really no need for an introduction. What the hell are gaps? No, okay, expose that hell. The hell. But what are gaps for real? Imagine a price chart. Normally price bars, I should say, move up and down, recording trading activity through a period. But sometimes there's a jump, essentially a blank space where no trading happened. That's a gap. So it signifies a price difference between the closing price difference between the closing price and the one opening the next following day. And the distance, or the gap, the space between that closing print and the next morning's opening print, that is what we call a gap. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. And here it is. We're trading, we're moving along sideways, consolidating up in storm, and then boom, a news catalyst comes in that prompts the next day's opening price to be markedly higher than the closing price from yesterday in that space there. If you do not include outside of regular trading hours data, you should see something like this. Now, if you include it, that 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. data, you might not get the gap. So it's incumbent upon you to know what settings your charts are set up to, right? And you've seen me umpteen times remove after hours trading data and add it, just so I can get a better picture to see what the resistance or support levels are during those times. So why do gaps happen? Think of gaps essentially as sudden shifts in supply and demand, right? News events like earnings reports, macroeconomic releases happening outside market hours can trigger buying and selling frenzy when the market reopens, causing the price to gap up, essentially open up higher. It can gap lower too, works both ways, baby. Or gap down, open lower compared to the previous close. So what are the types of gaps? So we're going to introduce these very, very simply today. We're literally going to spend a day on each of these 4 coming up, but let's just, kind of introduce the topic to you. Not all gaps are created equal. Not all are tradable at all in the same way, but it behooves us to know which ones are which. So let's get right to it. Breakaway gaps. All right, these are the ones that have something to do with resistance and support levels. So these occur when the price jumps above or below a resistance or support level. And most notably, we're looking for, well-established areas of resistance and support that we have gaps opening up or below then. And here's a case in point. We've got this downtrend line over here, umpteen amount of rejections on the price action with respect to this trend line. Then lo and behold, an overnight, news catalyst comes in, maybe a new product launch, something regulatory, who knows? And then you get that big boy jump from the closing print next morning or the previous night to that next morning opening print. And we're not going to get into this right now, but it also should be in the back of your mind that there should be big boy volume to accompany that breakaway gap. You want to see the traders or investors really piling in to know, yeah, this looks legitimate. So we're looking for a key break or a break above a key area of resistance or a key break below an area of support, typically on news and accompanied by above average trading volume. And here is the exact same look, but in the bearish trend. So you're making higher highs, higher lows. That's the most notable thing here. Then boom comes the dang dynamite. We open up the next day well below that trend line right there. So that's the look. Now, that's not the only type of gap. There's also exhaustion gaps. These appear at the end of a strong trend, and they might indicate a loss of momentum and a possible trend reversal. So they happen at the end of a strong trend, and they could indicate the loss of momentum or trend reversal. And here we go. So you get this big boy move up, and then you start gapping. But what happens after the gap? You don't necessarily continue in the direction of the trend. And that should be something that we take note of there. And in this case, it's a bit of a down gap, and then you get the manifestation of a reversal pattern vis-a-vis this double top. But within the double top is a couple of, exhaustion gaps, that gap to the downside, despite the trend being up and to the right. And this is the exact opposite. Exhaustion gaps on the lower end when there is umpteen amount of buyers getting in at a certain price. And this shows you exactly where you want to punch in. I'm not making this suggestion, but this graph basically is saying look to get in above the closing print or the opening print of the gapping down candle. We'll talk about that in the coming days. Common gaps. These are more frequent and often fill up quickly, essentially having minimal impact on the overall trend. These are gaps that you'll basically see during areas of consolidation, after which nothing really happens. You don't move down, you don't move up, you just gapped up maybe, on a catalyst that had to do with one of your competitors. So you were up in sympathy, but it had nothing to do with you specifically, or something that was debunked, a news catalyst that came out overnight that was later refuted. Essentially, what you're looking for are gaps that happen during a zig and a zag, which doesn't have a discernible trend. And this is exactly what I'm trying to show you here. You gap up a couple of times, you gap down a couple of times over here, but really nothing is established from the trend, and you continue to consolidate. And these are bamboozling gaps. We'll get more into it on the day that we spend, but a lot of times these are mistaken for different types of gaps, and you end up basing trades upon them, much to your chagrin subsequent. And last but not least, island gaps. These I'm not gonna pretend these are new to me. So I didn't actually read this in John J. Murphy's book on technical analysis, nor did I read it in the market technician materials for the first year. I didn't see it at all. So this is all new to me. Essentially what island gaps are, they're surrounded by trading activity on both sides. They don't necessarily, though, predict a strong directional move. It really depends. So you'll see these island gaps almost, again, very similar to the exhaustion gaps look, where they're kind of almost at the top of the double top there. So basically foreshadowing a possible reversal. But essentially what you need to know about these guys is that they are separated from the left side and the right side by lower or higher price action. You can see these three bars over here, they're separated from the lower bars above them, much like these ones over here. So I'll show you another example of it. You have this particular area completely on its own, separated from the previous price action and the subsequent price action. And usually there's some sort of news catalyst that was bullish initially, and then maybe something later came a few 3-4 days later, it looks like over here, which helped fill the gap. Now it could be positive specific company specific news, and then maybe a negative economic catalyst that helps fill that gap. But that's what essentially they are, and sometimes they're looked at as a reversal pattern. But these are what we call island gaps, and they're surrounded by trading activity on both sides. They don't necessarily have a bit of a trend. So are gaps reliable indicators?
Sorry, we just moved down here in the market a little bit.
Go for it.
I'm not seeing any news on this. I'm going to take a look, see what we can get here. But yeah, the Q's moving down here. A lot of these names and the Q's moving down. SPY down a bit as well, guys. So I'm not seeing anything. I know we do have Kamala Harris to speak at 11:30, but that is not. Now we have another 18 minutes for that. I'm trying to see if there's any news here on this move down. But yeah, a bit of a decent volume move here as well for the Qs. Let's see the SPY as well here. So I just wanted to address that move down here in the markets. I'm seeing some people talking about it. I'm keeping an eye out for some catalysts that could potentially be moving this. But yeah, right now we do have SPY Qs to the downside. I'm going to keep my eye, see if there's anything else, guys.
Sounds good. Thank you for that, Adara. So are gaps reliable indicators? So the very short answer is not always, right? Gaps can be misleading, and here's why. False breakouts. There's lots of false breakouts that can happen on gaps. And you saw there in the island gaps, the exhaustion gaps, even the common gaps, all, enablers of these false breakouts. So false breakouts, essentially, breakaway gaps can sometimes lead to the price quickly reversing, creating what we know as a false breakout, essentially above a key area of resistance or below a key area of support, after which the price reverts right back above or below, depending on whether we're going north or south. And there's also umpteen amount of market noise, right? Like there's all these different economic releases and different, we're in an election year, so anything a candidate says can move the market. You guys get it. Market noise, you've been around long enough to know what that is. So gaps can be influenced by temporary news or events, not reflecting the long-term trend of the instrument. So they absolutely can be bamboozling, and what we're going to talk about later is using them with other technical indicator for that added confirmation to put that check mark right beside its name and build up that balance of the evidence. Have you noticed the NOS boss has been saying the balance of the evidence?
This morning, and I thought of you.
He's been saying it. He's so pumped about his new indicator, and he keeps saying the balance of the evidence. So I was really happy about that.
I know. I thought you'd be pleased as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what they are. Now, how can we use gaps effectively? What's the move here? Now, we're going to introduce this concept very, very briefly because we're going to spend more time on this, but confirmation is key. As I just alluded to, don't base your decisions solely on gaps. Look for confirmation from other technical indicators like volume, like we just showed you, or moving averages. Again, don't worry too much about it now. We're going to have entire lessons on this. And volume absolutely matters when it comes to gaps. Very seldomly does volume not matter, but it matters more here because what you're saying, what the gap is telling you specifically is the market is so exuberant or so bearish that the price was basically in a supply and demand flux. And so you had a big boy gap up or gap down. So by virtue of that interest, whether positive or negative, there should be outlying volume. If there isn't, there should be something suspicious there. And what's going on, Katina Man? Is the market still tanking? Oh, the Katina Man's reloaded at Amazon over here at 183 2/3, give or take. There we go. Shout out to the Katina Man. 183 and 1/3, I should say. So he's well in the money at this point. So shout out to the Katina man. Keep your eye on more Trader TV if you want to see what Neil and Sean are trading. And last but not least here, Ram and using gaps effectively. Gap filling. The price might return to fill the gap. How many times have we heard that in trading? Offering potential entry or exit points. We'll have an entire lesson on gap filling as well. And just to kind of leave you off with an idea over here, gaps are just one piece of the puzzle. Use them alongside other technical analysis tool and proper risk management for more informed trading decisions. I'll get that right finally, Adara. What's up?
Yeah, not much. I will say, like today, you know, I need to shout out to High School Musical. I need to get my head in the game because right now I'm not really sure it is. I had this long off CrowdStrike. I liked how we were holding it level on the book. Then the market fell. It was not quick enough to get out of this. Tired trading rules, Adara. If you're not awake enough to act in a trade, especially as a scalper, why are you taking it? But make sure to vote. If there's any tickers you are looking at that you want to get involved in, go in there. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever ticker you want to see.
Kamala Harris speaking 11:30.
At 11:30, I mentioned that.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah. So I was so in my zone.
That's
I apologize.
okay. Yeah, Kamala Harris is speaking at 11:30. That was mentioned on the big desk and then earlier here as well. That's what I initially thought that move down was. But
gotcha.
that was,
it's still moving down, baby. Here we go. Ooh.
Also, here we have a couple of super chats to mention. Gus Phillips, 199 super chat. JD Vance owns over 1 million worth of Rumble squeeze time. I want to address that because I was actually looking into that. I heard some rumors about that. I could not find any proof of ownership. I know he did lead a fundraising round into this about 3 years ago. I could not find any proof he owned it. I want to clarify that. He might. I'm just saying, Brendan and I spent some time looking into this. We could not find any proof that JD Vance owns Rumble, though this rumor has been heavily circulated. I know he was involved in a fundraising round. I just want to put that out there before I show the chart because, just want to make that clear.
Hey, yeah, do your thing.
Rumble here, nice look on the intraday move. I know they have a short float of like 7-8%. Highs of days right now in the 5-minute chart. Honestly, just higher highs, higher lows, bouncing off the 90 MA. Let's take a look at the daily chart though. Just because I know with squeezes, they're not always relevant, but it's sometimes nice to look at to get a sense. You could tell the day here that we had the announcement that JD Vance was going to be that vice president pick because we had that nice spark up to 720. Let's zoom out on the daily chart. As Neil says, when in doubt, zoom out. Honestly, still seeing lower highs, lower lows for the most part in Rumble. However, nice 90 MA bounce, and at this area of 640 has been support 1, 2, 3 times in the past now. So that's something we can keep an eye on to see if anything's rumbling here. I know with these heavily shorted names or with short squeeze names, it's not always really going to matter the technicals, but I like to look at them regardless. Kyle Burnett, $4.99 super chat. Who? Chagrin. All big Kyle wants us quadunking. Spy shorted the triple top in the 5-minute. Let's go to the beach. Hopefully you get to swim around there in the spy profits. Big Spile living up to your name there. Hopefully you're having some hydration, nation. Very apt button there. But yeah, the spy. Let's switch to the 5-minute chart. Spy. I initially was thinking that would be an interesting flat top break. Then it ended up being a triple top, so I want to shout out Big Spile for that. I like this chop pattern we have here, 552 to 553.40. Or sorry, 552.80 to 553.40. But I want to shout out Big Spile for his trade. This is something I'm actually interested in the 60 penny range as of right now. But what are you looking at over here?
I just wanted to build on your point because I think you're absolutely accurate when you said you couldn't find information about Vance. Yeah, and you obviously did a good job because look who does own Rumble. Bongino Incorporated. Who knows Dan Bongino? Well, you'll know him here. Daniel John Bongino owns it personally and vis-a-vis a corporation. He owns about 15.89 million shares through the corp, about 310,000 through personal. And then look at this name over here. David Sachs. No, you didn't, David. 53.8 million or 53.8 thousand shares for a total value about 300,000. Yeah, the Sachs man's in there too, Adara. He was at the RNC last week dropping dimes on the all-in, so that was a good podcast there. So if you're interested in learning about that. So yeah, these are the owners over here. These are strategic entities. Essentially what that is non-institutions like you'll see Cantor Fitzgerald, Vanguard, BlackRock on the left side, and then you'll see more individual, smaller entities on the right side. And yeah, the Vance man's name is nowhere to be found there. Let's now look at the small cap gappers. I'm going to talk about the Mag 7 in a second because some of them are ranging and there is a possible trace to be had. Also, the dead one is about to go red on the day. It is essentially at flat right now. I'm talking about Apple, 224 and a third. Keep your eye on that one. Is essentially right at Friday's closing print. But what we want to start first with here is the small cap gappers. And yes, they are gapping up. Essentially, that's why we say that, because they're a lot higher than the Friday's closing print, typically, again, on overnight news. The biggest, the baddest of them all goes by the ticker MIRA, Mira. And this one is up a gnarly, a light 241%. It's up 81% since the bell has rung. Alas, it is halted to the downside at $2.35. Let's find out what the tap is on this monster. I'm not seeing the tap. That sucks. That's no good. Well, that means it's trading. Oh, I typed in the wrong one, sorry. MIRA, I put SAP. MIRA is halted at 272, so it's a little higher. It's already gapping higher than the high of the day right now. So 265 is a high day. It's showing me 272 on the tap. The tap is a theoretical auction price. It's essentially an auction of buyers and sellers to gauge demand and supply during the time the stock is halted. It's halted for a volatility halt. So 235 is where we're halted, and the previous level halt was at 2 1/5. So these areas that halt, I typically just look at them for possible areas of support and resistance. If we were to break above them, come back and test the halt area, I want to see what it does. Sometimes it holds up, sometimes it doesn't. So MIRA, the biggest and the baddest. Now, Cassava Sciences, oh baby, this one's moving up again, multiple day runner on the Alzheimer's? It was Alzheimer's. Yeah, it was, I don't think it was advanced Alzheimer's. It was like a lighter, I don't know. Anyway, it has an Alzheimer's headline from last week. It's finding support on every dip into the volume weighted average price. It looks like it's setting up for a head and shoulders here through a break of VWAP. I don't know. Or it could just be making basically a higher low, because that 1260 is a higher low than that 1250 we put in last time. So keep your eye on this one. It's up decent amount over here, 31%. Done about 7 million shares, and the company's float is about 44.8 million. And I know this one has a bit of a higher short float, or does it? Yeah, 29%, a bit more than 29% of this 40 some odd million share float is shorted. So keep your eye on Cassava Sciences, absolutely doing things, and tradable. Still above the volume weighted average price for a long here, but yes, Mira is open. It's at 276, high a day, so it did gap up. And this one continues to pimp right now, 276 high a day. Keep your eye on this. We'll load it up in a second. HE, Hawaiian Energy. Not one you'll typically see on my chart for a small cap gapper, because it's gapping down, not up. This one had a great day on Thursday, Adara. Got off that base at 12.5. It had the best day it's had in a while. Got to that 19.25. Very much an inside day on Friday. We neither break the high nor break the low. Now we are in a full state of huadunk. Finding support for whatever reason at 13.25, but been below the 10 exponential on the 5 essentially the entire morning. So this one's found a base. Let's see if it can possibly flat bottom break or weasel its way back into 15. Hawaiian Energy, HE on my list. CMAX, CMAX, big boy mover, but giving back a little bit right now. This one's at a very much near support level over here. For whatever reason, 3 2/3 has been a good area of support. And look at this area over here. I mean, we rejected this area originally. We clear it by some distance, come back, and we're using it again. So 3 2/3, good support right now on CMAX. Let me give you the deets, up 137%, 38.5 million shares. The float on this monster is 2.75 million shares, so very small, by the way, not minuscule, but definitely small. And the short float on this monster is 12.5%. So small float and larger short float. Keep your eye. This one can absolutely get going, but I'd like to see it above that $4 VWAP area for breakout trades. CMAX looking awfully good over here. There's also Donald John Trump. It's not doing a whole lot. It's rejecting off the 50 or VWAP. Take your pick. I'm not going to really talk too much about it until it does something. SERV, this was a monster the last couple of days. It had a good day on the 18th. It continued to do so on the 19th and the 22nd today. No difference. Oh, we basically got into $14, and $14 was after the bell, so we definitely broke the pre-market high. This is a good one. Sadly, though, it's below the volume-weighted average price right now at around 11 3/4, but it is putting in these higher lows. So keep your eye on SERV. It behooves me to give you the deets on this one again. About 50%. High, about 100 million shares traded today, and a $420 million market cap, and about 24.3 million share float. One more time, we'll get the short float on this one. CRV, if we can show them, remember, I can't find this one, I forgot. Yeah, Trade Ideas doesn't have the short float on Surf, so we'll have to fly blind there. Last but not least, MEIP. It was moving nicely when, I put together the small cap gap or side charts. Sadly, though, broken down below that 3 2/3 right now, Adair. Trying to hold above 3.5, but south of the volume-weighted average price. There was ample amount of fist pumping on that side of the desk, so I want to hear all about it.
Thank you. I had a 50-penny winner in NVIDIA.
Woo!
I needed this. I had some weaker trades earlier today, but then I waited. I watched scheming, plotting, scheming, trying to get money. Shout out to Drake for this thing here. But yet nothing was the same in this trade. No, I just wanted to finish the pun. There's no real connection there. But basically, why I like this was I'll try to chart. Hello, sir. Here you are. Okay, so the reason I like this is because as you would see here, we had that 121.50 holding a support a couple times here. Then we break below. Then we wake up into it. I say, Adara, this is something you like. I get involved 121.50. My stop level is just going to be a significant change in the tides here. We didn't really have one. The plan, I started with a smaller-ish position, but enough for me to piece out. Pieced out 2/3 here, about 25 pennies in the money at 121.25. Then what I did was say, Adara, if we come back, make higher lows, you add. So I added, made the position a little bit larger here, so I would have enough room for 2 halves of a position around that 121.40. Took out 1/2, about 15 pennies in the money, same area of previous support, that 121.25, with, again, the plan to add more. We didn't get to add more. We broke below, dropped about 35 pennies. I got out about 50 pennies in the money there, so 121.40 with the remainder of the position, got out at 120.90s. Place is punched. Let's see what we do here at 121. If we see that 121 rejection yet again, because 121 was an area we could have fought tooth and nail with to get below. If we come back here, say hi, then say bye, somebody wants to short this NVIDIA. I wanted another rhyme there, couldn't get one, it's fine, I tried. But that would be the next level for me that I'm vaguely intrigued by. And you know what? I am actually vaguely intrigued. I like what we're doing here. So let's keep an eye here. Let's do 98s maybe, if I can get them on this. And again, we're gonna start with the smaller-ish position, because with the type of trade we have in NVIDIA, that has been giving you some opportunities with certain levels to add and subtract. I don't think we're gonna get this fill, but if we do, I'm ready and waiting for you, NVIDIA. I'm not gonna chase you either, though. We don't wanna go chasing waterfalls, especially, as I said, since I've been adhering to my tired trade rules. But being tired does not mean I won't take trades. It just means I'm gonna be a lot more discerning. I'm cancel my fill. I don't think I'm going to get this, but if we come back, that could be interesting. Also, bouncing off 80s could be interesting to me, because as you can see, A, we never really broke decisively below 80s, and B, this is certainly an area of pre-market resistance. Resistance and support can flip-flop, as we do indeed know. So NVDA on watch for me here. Netflix also on watch, pun probably intended. The thing, though, that I don't love about this is the spread has been spready. The spread on this was a lot better last week, I'm sure, because there was just more volume with it being a day one earnings play. I did have one trade in this last week. If the spread chills out a little bit, I am interested in a trade in either direction. If the spread Netflix and chills out a little bit, then I'll be interested in a trade. If we bounce off VWAP, I like this long here off that 644-ish area. I was initially interested in the 90 MA rejection. I just couldn't get the spread to work with me there, so I decided to spread out and look at some other stocks. Crowd here is also enticing. I did lose on that long. This was initially bouncing off VWAP, but in retrospect, it's like a Dara. That was a previous area chop and churn. Should have been more aware, but woulda, coulda, and of course, shoulda. I want to see what we do as we get to these previous lows here around 265, not rushing into anything, trying to take my time to make trades that make sense. NVIDIA is still top and tailing. We have Kamala Harris here coming in 1 minute. Also, I want to shout out Drops Family Garden mentioning to me check unusual whales when we had that move down in the market. So this basically what Unusual Whales posted this excerpt of an interview with Donald Trump with Bloomberg saying that Taiwan took our chip business from us. I looked it up. The most recent Bloomberg interview with Donald Trump was from 6 days ago. So I don't know if this is a new quote or if this is just reposting that old interview, but I wanted to bring that out. Shout out to Drops Family Garden for mentioning this one to me. I love our awesome chat, and if you love our awesome chat and you're a part of this chat, you've liked, you subscribed, and you can participate, then you go in there. Exclamation point, join, shift 1, exclamation point, space, shift 4, and then you can do your $ there for Meta, Amazon, DJT, Donald John Pump or Donald John Dump, either way. Tesla, maybe you want that Cybertruck, maybe you want NEO, whatever it is you want. We've got it, but only if you vote, so make sure you get your voice heard in there. As Sharif says, you can campaign. You can try, maybe that day we got C-Poop in there, maybe we got Sirius XM in there. We've seen some wild tickers in there. All you gotta do is vote and let your voice heard in honor of the election we have going on right now in the States.
I love it.
I love
it.
it.
Yeah.
What are you electing to look at?
I elected to take a 50-penny loss on Tesla.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was a little less
Yeah,
fun.
I know, right? Yeah, so I was trying to I saw topping till candles at 247, or bottoming till, excuse me. So I got in, I had to risk a little bit there, and it seems to be holding up at the 50, but I don't want to look long anymore because the market is really coming down. We got a gnarly double top at 2,000. I bet you some futures traders were all over that because you don't see that, or 20,000, excuse me. You don't see this too often at a 10,000 point level. So nice double top there. There was a little bit of zig and zag initially, and then the real flush came, and it's still coming right now as I think we're heading down to 19,008 because we almost got to 19,008, 110. So it just stands to reason we touch the 100 point level. We'll keep eyes on that. I'm also keeping eyes on Tesla, even though I took a bit of a hit on it right now. It's still holding up at the 10 exponential on the 5. So it's not really showing me its propensity to bounce at the moment. It hasn't made a candle to make a new high since this one over here at 11:05. So we're going on half an hour. So we'll see if we can find possibly some support at 246 to kind of curl maybe into VWAP at 248 and a fifth. But yeah, we'll pack our patience there. Apple putting in a bit of a bottoming tail candle. Apple's really coming down. So save and except for this candle over here at 11:10, there is no green candle on Apple since 10:35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's count this one as 7, 8, 9, 10. And if this one closes red, it'll be 11. So we've got 10 in a row essentially right now on the 5-minute chart on Apple. It found a bit of a consolidation base at 226.5. But that really all ended once it broke down decidedly below that, right at 5 to the hour there. So AAPL, I don't want to say single-handedly bringing down this market, but it really feels like Microsoft and Apple really weak, even though Microsoft looking a little better than Apple at the moment because it's still positive. Trying to hold on to 440, but really it's been more a short, the pop kind of day on most of these names, at least right now. You're seeing kind of the double top in NVIDIA as well to kind of coincide with that look that we're getting on the future. Google has a very similar double top in a 182 and a third around there. Tesla has a skewed double top, like a more bearish double top, with the right side of the top being distinctly lower than the left side. So if Tesla breaks 246, I'm going to want that smoke to around 244 because that's the area where we have a bit of a support. Let's for real though, if we do get a 246 break on Tesla here, I like this all the way down to possibly 244. A bit of a gap there with respect to price action because right at the bell, Tesla really broke through that 244.5, 244 and a third flat top. I don't want to call it a flat top, consolidation area top, and we haven't come back to test it, but we've been making lower highs. So you feel like possibly a flat bottom break maybe coming in here at 246, but let's not guess what we may see and actually trade what we do see, because right now we're getting multiple bounces off this 246, which is the 50 exponential on the 5. So I'm packing my patience here to see what kind of trade I can get. from the Mag 7. Let's flip quickly and look at some of the other small cap gappers. Mira is halted up again at 271. It has a 280 high a day. Still hasn't printed high a day there. But yeah, I'm not really loving a whole lot of these small cap gappers today. So I'm going to be looking possibly at some Mag 7 names here and there.
Yeah, I mean, same. I like what you say about Tesla. I have the same thought on Tesla.
Yeah.
This 247 came and snapped up right now, kind of holding a support on the book just to skosh. But if it flips, I do like this short. You guys know what I'm like. I like a short. I like a short off a 90 MA rejection. Tesla's giving you all that and more. Yeah. All that and a bag of chips. Although it's not a chip stock, so that pun could have worked better, but that's not the point. The point is, took a little bit of a hit here on Netflix, but I want to talk about it. I like this long. I watched for a while here. We were at VWAP. We were holding that 644 area on the book. I got in at 644.50s in the long because with the spread, you know, much like we see with our pal spread, you do have to be a little bit. You got to be willing to risk a little bit there. Ended up, we had a little bit of weakness here. We fell below the 90 MA or VWAP. Sorry, I got out. Had a small position. Again, not super proud of it. Obviously, it's never fun to take a loss. But if you like the idea, if you believed in it, I'm not going to be upset about taking it, right? So that was the goal there. That being said, we stay below VWAP. I am still potentially interested in a short. Happy I tried the long, but it did not work out. CrowdStrike, the other spready name, although much less spready than Netflix that I've had my eye on today. CrowdStrike making a slightly higher low here. A previous low of day wicking into the 264s. Now we're coming here around 267. I don't want to go long or short this yet until I see more, but CrowdStrike definitely still on my mind and in my heart. Not in my heart, but on my mind. Let's take, Tesla. Tesla, I like this look here. I like that we're in this short. It looks like someone else is involved in this short. Sharif,
50
how are you
pennies
doing
in the money.
Here? Woo!
Yeah.
Lisa's punch for you.
Thank you.
Definitely got involved a little bit later here on that wick. I want to see if we can even get to like 246.
Damp it.
The previous area here. I will echo stream stamp it. We both want Tesla to damp it here. We want that Cybertruck to go screaming to the downside.
Bang!
Okay, beautiful. I want to shout out Sharif there for that awesome trade. I'm going to try to take about 30 pennies in the money here with 2/3 of my position. Tesla, why'd you bounce back up? They're asking for a friend. I think I might have lost my opportunity, but I really want to hear Sharif talk about his awesome trade on that stock.
I suck, Adara.
You do not suck.
Yeah.
You're out. I'm still in this thing. You're out, so you definitely do not suck.
I got short initially at 247. Ram. Added at 247.31. We had basically a $0.25 average. Covered the last little bit at 50, so we took 75 pennies there. But we already had taken a hit on Tesla. The truth is the truth. So we were taking a hit there, and we had to fight this monster back in. But Tesla's moving like an animal today. What's going on over there, Katina, man? Amazon?
We're long TQQs.
He's long TQQs. He's long Amazon. That's I love it. And the money, it be rolling.
Long Amazon at 183.02.
The Katina man's long Amazon at 183.02. So he's basically taking the low of the, well, not the low of the day, the closing print from Friday, and he's rinsing and repeating on that. So shout out to the Katina man. I've seen umpteen amount of bounces off that level, Katina man. I'm sure you've seen it too. Obviously goes without saying, every dip here into 183 and change has been bought up. So shout out to him, printing up a storm on that. Shout out to the Katina man. I just have to make sure that I don't have any resting orders that are going to get me in trouble, because that has been a bit of an Achilles heel of mine, and I have decided that I'm going to shuffle the space on the screens so that I can have my eye on it at all times from now. And there's all these new options, Adara, that Trade Ideas has that we're really not employing, so I really want to get those on so we can use them every day, and you really kind of have more tools at our disposal, and I think the viewers will benefit from that too.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
So shout out to everybody. Let's have a look quickly over here at what the future be doing, because we did get a quick bounce off that generally. Let's call it, it's not the low of day, but it's definitely the after the bell low, and that took us all the way down to 19,809. I still think we touch 19,800. And then we'll see what we do there. But Apple putting in a bit of a doji over here at around this, where are we at over here? This price, 223.75, essentially at that level, but still very much.
We're making those lower highs. Shout out again to Sharif on that awesome short on Tesla. I realized we're making those lower highs, and it was like, Adara, get out. I'm ready to get out. We're ready to get for my fill. And then it pops up 30 pennies. I was like, you know what, Adara? It's all good, baby. Just get out. Look for other opportunities. Then I see Tesla bounce off 247 in the book, and I say, Adara, along with larger size, don't mind if I do. Again, not massive size as me. I'm pretty frugal here, but okay, never mind here. We're going to take 50 pennies and the rest of my Tesla. We're going to get out of Dodge or out of Cybertruck. There we go. We ended up taking about 42 pennies, so I'm still happy with that. Really happy I stuck with this, tried to get involved, and, you know, you can't get too upset. I was a little bit like, because I lost in the Tesla trade, and I said, Adara, just look for other things. If you still see stuff you like, sometimes it's worth it to flip. So happy I did. That's why I really love staying positive, because these markets love to get you down. They love to make your P&L red. They love to make you red in the face, and you just got to be saying, no, I am green. Because contrary to what Kermit the Frog says, it is easy being green. Just ask Trenda. Well, I'm not green P&L wise, but green in your mindset. And apparently I offended Sharif with that one. But yeah, guys, if there's any tickers you're looking at that are making you red or green in the face or just in the mind, get involved there. I don't know how you be green in the face. Get involved there, exclamation point, join, space, $, maybe gimme, maybe GME, maybe IWM, maybe the SPY, maybe crowd, whatever you're looking at, guys, get involved. We love this audience participation segment, which is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Real Trading. Awesome group there.
Do you know who else had something green today?
Who?
Ram made me get her a green Red Bull.
Oh, I thought
Have
the
you
Kiwi
tried
one,
those
right?
green Red Bulls before?
A couple summers ago, maybe?
Is that green apple or kiwi, Ram?
Kiwi, right?
They got rid of kiwi, so what is it then? What is that there? The dragon fruit. Ooh, what is that exactly? Just like a bunch of different fruits thrown in?
Dragon fruit is a fruit.
Is it?
It's a fruit.
Okay, I'll stop talking now.
It's a good fruit.
I didn't know that dragon fruit was a fruit.
I wasn't trying to like.
No, you're
brag on
educating me, but you're educating me in front of everybody else. It makes me look dumb. I mean, like. The Katina man wants me to know that it's a fruit that breathes fire. Is it related to the Loch Ness Monster? It is. I knew it. It was related to the Loch Ness Monster. There had to be some sort of familiar relationship there.
Why not?
Right, Adele? Come on, bro.
Dinosaur juice.
Dinosaur juice. We're having a good time over here. I hope you guys are not taking us too seriously. We're not taking ourselves too seriously over here, but we do take trading very seriously. And Mira is halted again, Adara, and it's halted to the upside yet again. This time, 3-1-2. Well, let's just look at how many halts we have in general. For that, I got to go to the 1 minute look over here. So here is the opening print. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now we're in the 11th. And most of them have been up halts. And look at this. I mean, yes, it's been halting umpteen amount of times, but I made this point in the past, and I want to make it again. It seems, even though the halts, you know, obviously stop trading, it really does hold the moving averages, and that's what's super weird. Even when it halts to the downside, it seems to hold moving averages, and that's one thing we've made kind of an observation within the past. Even though, you know, you're maybe finding it hard to get in and get out, if you base it off moving averages, at least in the trend direction, maybe that helps a bit. I don't know. It's something that I haven't tried, but it's something that I've observed over here. So halted at 312, and it halted at 11:41 and change. Let me just see exactly what time it halted over here. Allow me a minute. The tap, by the way, is 320. So it's already 8 pennies higher than what it closed at. 41.48. So right now we're 43.36. So we still have a couple of minutes and then some for MIRA. Great look. Sava, though, giving you an interesting look over here. I don't know what Cassava Sciences is doing at 3.25, but they're 13.25, excuse me. But there seems to be a huge seller that's keeping this monster low, below, I should say, 13.25. We've been rejecting off that level since 11:20. It's 25 minutes of rejections off 13.25 on SAVA. So it behooves us to load it up on a trading screen and see if we can weasel some sort of analysis here on the level 2. So let's look. Are we close to 13.25? We're pretty close. We're showing 20s here on the level 1. The $0.25 is not showing me too much in the way of big boy size. Get it, Adara. But at the moment right here, we'll have to wait till we get a little bit closer to that $0.25 to see exactly what the big boys are. That was intense. That was intense, girl. Get it. I need to hear about this.
Took $1 on crowd. Wait, no, I took $1.25 on crowd strike. Sorry about that. Thank you. I placed this punch. This name I did strike out on earlier. Tried that long, and someone else in the chat was saying they tried the long on crowd strike as well. It looked okay for half a second. The market fell down. My long fell down. I was like, for half a second. But you got to keep going.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You really cannot get too cut up or down on yourself because the markets do not care about your feelings. So basically, I saw CrowdStrike. Initially, I was actually leaning long on this. Why? Because we had this bottoming tail candle, and we actually were forming a second one. We get to 267. I'm like, do I want a long here? Then we fall below, and I see, let's see what we do with 266.50s. We hold, I go long. We break below, I go short. We broke below. For a second, it looked like we were going to retest 267. I would have added there.
Neil.
Then we didn't. We fell to the downside. We broke that 266 beautifully. Then I said, Adara, see where we paused in the book. Ended up getting out 265, 25, 26. Sorry to be technical, 26. Pleased as punch with this trade. Happy with how I was able to execute. Also, I saw a comment that made me laugh pretty hard there for Bears versus Bulls. Basically saying that if the stream's lagging, make sure you speed up. And said, kind of funny watching Adara at 2 times speed. So shout out to you, Bears versus Bulls, for everything you do. I got a huge kick out of that. Thank you for all your support.
That's actually good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right? I was like not offended. I'm like, that's actually pretty funny.
I think we all sound a little funny at 2 times speed, not gonna lie. Like,
we do, right? Especially if we are people who naturally talk a bit faster. But I want to shout out Bears versus Bulls for that fun tip there. Bears versus Bulls sending a shocked emoji face. Shout out to you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for the support. Really happy with how this is going in this here market.
Thanks,
what else is going on? Oh yeah, we've got also Netflix below VWAP. That could be a nice short for me if we retest. The spread is not that disgusting as of right now.
All right, so King Jesus was asking me about the tap for Mira. It's 323, my man, and so you'll see it on my screen right here. I know it's really small. I promise I'll adjust the size of these bad boys as well. Brendo's already told me to do that. I adjusted these, didn't adjust these bad boys, but 3. I appreciate you, Ram Ram. Ram Ram is doing the absolute most in a kind of good way.
She's like, I got it.
In a kind of good way. You can't big up Ram Ram that much. No, we love Ram Ram around here, and it's moving up, bigly up here. Here we go. 390% now. Looks like it's going to halt at 39s. Could be a false halt. Let's see. A few more seconds at this level. Some decent lottage here at 39s. Nothing huge, of course. And there it is, halted at 38s. I'm seeing over here. The ask was at 39. The bid halting, as you can see on the time and sales, halting at 38s. Yet another up halt, guys. This monster, it is up 390.71%. And a cool and gnarly and easy 160% since that 9:30 bell run. Great look for whoever's trading this monster, MIRA. And I don't know if I gave you the details. I'm sure Adara did multiple times on the small cap recap and such. But here it is, Mira Pharmaceuticals. Zach's small cap research report being, what is this? Price, is that it? Is that?
There was something else.
Ketamine, yeah, here it is. Yeah. So we know that, there's like the psilocybin, ketamine, and some other drugs are being, researched now by some, pharmaceutical companies for their effects for depression, anxiety, and some other stuff. We don't have to agree with it, but we can just trade it, okay? So let's leave the opinions to ourselves at this point. There it is. There's a headline, Mira Pharmaceuticals oral ketamine analog, it's an analog, shows potential in neuropsychiatric, disorders. So there we go. There's a headline there, and we'll keep tabs on that. All right, I haven't been looking at big tech in a hot minute over here. Apple is absolutely tanking to the downside, and so is Amazon, and so is Microsoft. They're all headed down. They're all pretty much printing low of day as we speak. Nvidia faring much better, so is Tesla. Goggles, though, even though it's up 1.6, is knocking on the door of that 180.23 LOD on this day, so we'll keep an eye on that. But Tesla seems to be, even though it has lower highs, umpteen amount of lower highs, 3 lower high crests, seems to be much better than any other names. Looks like there is definitely 246 support on TSLA. Gorev, or you retracted your message, Gaurav, so now I can't read it. He said something about Amazon. So Gaurav, tag me again with that, and I'll have a look. All right, Neil was able to get me, was nice enough, kind enough, and awesome enough, because we always say Neil's awesome, to get me shorts on Cassava Sciences. This cost me, Adara, 25 whole pennies.
Oh my gosh, a whole 25 pennies.
I'm broke, Adara.
Sharif, what are you going to do?
Yeah, no, I can't handle this. 25 whole pennies for 100 shares. That is the kind of deal you get with Real Trading. Obviously, you guys know we're sponsored by Real Trading, and that is the company that puts on the lights around here, Adara. So we are sponsored by them, and they give us the ability to have, the best tools at our disposal.
They do, and so we do. So shout out to them.
Hey.
I have been watching The Bamboozler, that is known as Netflix.
Oh.
You might be like, Adara, why are you still staring at this name with that big old spread? Well, you know what? It's because it's been deeply fascinating. Why has it been deeply fascinating? You may ask. I mean, let me tell you. We got this chop and churn here. There's some weird resistance at 654.50. Now, I don't know if this is like me anchoring a little bit, because that was the area I went long earlier and it didn't work out. But I will tell you, we get to 644.50 on the bid, on the bid side here, on the sell side, and then we sell off pretty viciously. Now that could be me being a little again, anchored to the fact that area did not work out for me previously, but it is something to notice. It's something I'm keeping my eye on, and something I want to be aware of. Spread tightening up a little bit here. I think Netflix might ultimately be a long. Look at these bottoming tail candles here around VWAP. But I want to wait and see. I am interested in trading this either direction. But that sell-off every time we get to 644.50 is at this point happened too many times. 3 that I've witnessed for me to be like, it's just me being anchored. Do you know what I mean? I think there is something in the water here. That, or there's like this really weird $1.50 spread or a range here for NFLX. I like ranges. I'll take it as a range if it's a range. If not, I'll take it as a short or a long, but I just need Netflix to really tell me what it wants, what it really, really wants. Because right now, all it wants to do is zigzag between those price levels, and I can't do anything with that. Tesla. Tesla. This is beautiful. Okay, I've mixed. Initially, it was like Tesla's beautiful, and then I'm like, wait, is it? So Tesla, I have a couple opinions on. I want to shout out to Sharif talking about this really interesting level here earlier, just above 246, because you had the same thoughts I had, where it looks like a flat bottom break, but also it's really strong support. And so with that, maybe it'll flip later, but right now it just wants to flip-flop. Tesla rejecting VWAP here at the 280, but that being said, we are making higher lows with some bottoming tail candles. Again, another one where I want to wait and see. I apologize, guys, I'm not in any trades right now, but I also don't want to rush into any trades for the sake of rushing in to trades. Netflix, though, just gave me a lower high, so that I think we're going to try to take short here if we can get involved around 644. So might not be able to get into that at that level. Parsica, because of this range here. Sorry for switching into the French for a moment there. But let's see how we do. Just be French, why not? At this NFLX subtitles here on Netflix, just trying to make a point.
I didn't even realize that you said it till Ram reacted to it. I'm like,
I didn't even realize I said it either. I just slip into French sometimes. But yeah, let's see how this Netflix goes, because I would love to have this one in the watch list for me. Have me all smiles.
Get it, Adara.
Thank you. How's Saba going?
We're okay. I mean, we're a gnarly 6 pennies in the money over here. I'm looking for a VWAP retracement-ish, hanging out at 88s for a possible fill. Look, I'm going to tell you guys, quite frankly, this is kind of breaking my rule. I don't take these small cap gappers short north of VWAP, but I did see it rounding a little bit, and so I said this could be an interesting move down, possibly into the volume-weighted average price at around 3/4 to 2/3. 92s we're showing here on the bid. I'm waiting at 88. That's the look there. But CMAX is back in play. This one I tried to stay away from because it was zigging and zagging a little above 4, a little below, with zero respect for the volume-weighted average price. But upon further inspection, I've noticed that the respect comes in at that 3 2/3, and lo and behold, we've set up a bit of a flat bottom, or an area. I'm not saying it as a flat bottom break, but an area defend over here at 3 2/3, and that was an area resistance level. Look at this big boy move up at around 10:15. We kept rejecting that 3 2/3 before breaking it bigly when we got up into that 505. Then we weasel our way back down. We start putting in a rounded bottom over here. As you can see, the higher lows and higher highs are coming in. We're still below that 450. ish resistance level, umpteen amount of topping tail candles, couldn't break 450 after we got into 5. So we're going to be all eyes on that 450 because if we break through that, then we could be headed to the north side again, possibly on that. So we'll keep tabs on that. I'm sitting here waiting on Sava for a possible 8-8 touch. I'm getting 90s on the what's it called? The bid, well, now 91s. So I'm a little worried that this bounces and doesn't fill me, where I'm being a little bit too aggressive in my price tag, but I'm just going to leave it where it is and see. We get Mira is halted again to the high side, 3 2/3 again here on MIRA. This thing is rocketing up now, man. 431%. Unreal day for MIRA on a ketamine headline. Look at what I just said about CMAX. It moves up into 450 and the topping tail candle comes fast and dang furious. I'm willing to bet I have to pay for the shorts on this, so I'm going to pack my patience. Already I have shorts on Kava. Can't be out shorting here all these small cap gappers. But yeah, that could have been a gnarly scalp there for 40 some odd pennies super quick as that one touched mid or high 40s actually, and then tanked right back down to 4, back up into 4 1/4 though with a higher low. So even though we know there's local resistance at 4.5 on CMAX, the buyer exuberance is incrementally overwhelming seller pessimism. And that is really demonstrated here visually vis-a-vis the higher lows and the higher highs, because we are getting higher highs on this curl up on CMAX. So good recovery here. It's not VWAP respectant. It's zigging and zagging, a little bit below, a little bit above. You're not going to, I shouldn't say you're not. I'm not going to use VWAP for this. I'm likely to use price action just based on how it is trading at the moment here, Dara.
Yeah, so I've literally spent the last time just staring here at Netflix. I got short. It was chill. We were chilling. We were vibing. Then we get above here, that 644.50, and I go, oh, Adara, what are you doing? But I say, Adara, watch the book. We're calm. We're pretty subdued. See what you do at 645s. We get to 645s. We cannot get above 645s. Now we're back below, but I am seeing some higher lows on this here book, which I do not necessarily love. If we bounce off this 644.50 here again, I'm going to have to get out of this. But I want to stay in it for now because I do have a not great habit of panic selling. I don't want to panic sell. I have no reason to panic yet. With the spread on Netflix, you do have to be cognizant of that. That being said, here though, this pop back up here is not something I'm necessarily a huge fan of. So we're going to get out of Netflix here. I did end up, turning off the show here, turning off my Netflix, canceling my subscription at this level. It looks like the long would have been the right call, especially with these bottoming tail candles. Maybe I was a bit anchored to my whole 644.50 nonsense. But either way, happy I got out where I did. Happy with my read on the book, because now we would have been like a whole $2 out of the money. So you got to do what you got to do. This was a spread of your name. I knew the risk going into it. Happy I attempted it, and that's sometimes what matters, especially as you're learning, right? One of the things I'm doing, because I was talking to some of the guys last week, and it was, as you're learning, maybe take less size. That's been a huge help for me to help me minimize some of the losses, because you are going to take L's. But as 21 Savage always says here, take less L's, make more M's. That's really what I'm trying to do. Taking some small gains, trying to work on certain things. Pretty Panda saying in the chat, can someone message Kamala and tell her to mention how great weed is? Let's take a look at MSOS. I think Pretty Panda in the past I know has mentioned CGC. Let's take a look at CGC first, but I think MSauce could be a better look of seeing where we are if we're lost in the MSauce or not. But, this CGC. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty good look. Some green candles here for CGC to go. Not getting smoked here. Spoken to the upside, up about 10%. Lower high, though, for CGC. So Canopy not doing too much growth, but enough here that lower high. I think if we pop back above this 790 level, that'd be nice. But we do have some topping tail candles, I would say, to be cognizant of. MSauce, though, let's see how we're doing here. What's the MSauce looking like today? This MSOS up about 4%. So some of these individual names up more. Volume on this about 5 mil. Honestly, looking pretty similar to CGC, though. We have higher highs, higher lows, then we make a lower high. So I would say, yeah, I don't think she's listening to you, Pretty Panda, because this thing is not too much, though we are very much to the upside on the day for both of these with slightly lower highs. NVIDIA to pop up again, says Yannick and Beatrice. So let's see, let's take a look at this for both Yannick and Beatrice for NVIDIA. Oh, Oh, I see what you mean. But I would be very cognizant of 121.50. Why? We had a bit of a double bottom here, then we broke way below. We're getting into that area. When we had that rejection, it was pretty swift. I think we're above the 90 EMA. That's a nice sign, but I think seeing what we do with that 121.50 to me would be pretty pivotal. Right now, it looks like we can't even, I keep saying pivotable when I mean to say pivotal. That's like a fun new foible I've been doing, so I just wanted to address that. But that 121.30 now we can't even get above. So to me, not necessarily a great sign. Like I said, Yannick and Beatrice, I really think 121.50, holding above that is a good look. This to me is kind of, I'm considering shorting this if we can't even hold 121.30 though. That's going to be the areas I'm looking at for my purposes for N to the V to the D to the A. Not much else I'm looking at here right now. Netflix, I do not want to like continue to lose money in this. I've already had 2 losing trades on this, but I think there's certain levels I like on this that I should be playing better. So if I see anything I like, if the spread gets a little less horrifying, I might get back involved. I don't want to not look at a name just because I had a losing trade in it before. I don't really think that is feasible. As Sean said, a scared trader is a deficient trader. That's something I'm trying to live by. I love that level for entry on Tesla though.
Yeah, hopefully, if I can just give it to you for a second while I can put in my stops and then I'll take it right over.
Please do. Yeah, pivotable was a mistake, guys. That was not on purpose, guys. I apologize. That's been a new, fun, accidental made-up word. Netflix here, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me with that 645 short. I can't look at this anymore. I know I'm joking. We're going to not look at that. I do like this NVDA, though. I think this is kind of an interesting look here. We still cannot get above 30s. That being said, 1, 2, 3, 4 green candles in a row on the 5-minute chart does not give me a ton of confidence or confluence for the short just yet. I want to wait and see what's happening here for the balance of the evidence. Oh, I pressed B quarter, but that's not the one I meant to press. I meant to press Chung Chung there.
Hey.
So let's see, Sam Waterston and co. get all the lawyers in on this, see what we're doing on this NVDA. Because honestly, this whole inability to get below 30s, or get above 30, sorry, is kind of getting enticing. That being said, on the book, we are holding 121.20s pretty well. Now what I want to see is a break below 121.20s. In that case, I will take a short. Hey, NVIDIA, thanks for giving me what I want. Then we'll be risking this into the 30s. If we get decisively above 30s, I'm going to leave. If we get to 30s and we reject, I'll add. As I always scalp, guys, it's always going to be a scalp play for me, so I'm not going to hold on to this for an insane period of time. I have a pretty small position here. I'm aware we still could be making higher highs, higher lows, but you have to trust yourself sometimes when you see stuff you like. In this case, that's what I'm trying to do. NVIDIA, trying to bounce here at 121s. Do not love that. Let's see what we do here at 30s. How was Tesla?
Right. Good took 40 pennies, right?
Nice.
Like that.
Yeah.
So this is what I saw on Tesla, and it wasn't a price action resistance. It was a support line or a resistance line, excuse me. It's been making lower highs. We mentioned that. We mentioned 246 seemed to be a line in the sand where buyers keep stepping in, and the gap between 246 and essentially 244, that pre-market-ish high, it's more like 244.5 to be fair. Because this is where we crested out. So we got into that top right there. I waited for the red candle to manifest, and once I saw it, I punched short, and I think I've covered a little too early, as per usual, because I think this one's going to weasel its way down into likely that $0.50, 246 $0.50 to basically, touch that low end of the area again, 246.5, or maybe even 246 itself. We've had umpteen amount of wicks come into 246. All right, Mira's open again, guys. Now 385 high a day. It's zigging and zagging. It's looking like it's going to drop here. 355 on MIRA. Where the hell is it? There we go. Okay, so MIRA, here it is, 355. It's going to likely halt over here unless it's a false halt. Huge size, and there it is. We are halted again. MIRA down halt this time after 1, 2, 3, 4 straight up halts. We finally get one down halt here. We've had multiple down halts before, but definitely the up halts overwhelming the down halts by some margin. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but anyway, high a day MIRA. Let me give you that real quick. $3.85. We're exactly 30 pennies below that at the moment. The tap, though, a scary 292. So about 60 some odd pennies from where we're halted right now. Now the tap, the theoretical auction price for the newer traders, that can change, and that will likely zig and zag a little above, a little bit below during the 5-minute halt period that we're at. Usually these come in halt periods of 5 minutes if they're volatility. Minimum usually is 5 minutes, and then we get them in increments of 5, so 10, 15. Halts for news pending are different. They can just be any length of time, and there's really no standard there. So right now we are down halted at 355 with a 292 theoretical auction price on MARA. Let's have a look at CMAX, because that, where the hell is that? Oh, it's on the chart. I haven't put it on a trading screen. CMAX, because this one has been also presenting us with a range. Now, Neil was nice enough to get me those shorts on Cassava Sciences. I may need to annoy Neil again to get maybe some more shorts on CMAX, because there is a gnarly range here being established, 3 2/3 to the downside, and that was a previous area of resistance, now support. We've bounced off it multiple times. You can also incorporate the 20 exponential into that analysis, because sometimes it bounces off the 20 and not necessarily 3 2/3. But to the high side, that 450 has been in play essentially since we broke into 5, dropped back down on this candle here at 1035. This 450, 3 2/3 has been in play essentially for the better part of an hour and a half. Okay, so we're going to try to weasel our way into this, whether long or short here on CMAX. Good look. Cassava is still maintaining its level below 13. So I was able to wet my beak on 10 pennies on Cassava Sciences, but I got stopped out for the rest because it did break above my entry. So there's a short. We wet our beak here, and then we got stopped out. It's zigging and zagging, though. I still want to have a better look at this. I'm thinking the best situation for me to get short is a decided break of the volume weighted average price. So that's my rule with these small cap gappers. If I do short, I typically short below VWAP. Today, I made it very clear I broke my rule on that. So hopefully that'll be the last rule break of the day. Apple is headed to the downside again, Katina, man. It's headed down into 223 1/5. This thing is the embodiment of weakness today. Wow, what a move down for the dead one, Apple. I mean, Amazon is moving down as well, as so is Microsoft, but Amazon's still, only a 5th in negatory land, and Microsoft is still 0.5 point. So even though they look it down into the right, Apple suffering the most on the day. 223 1/5 is the low day, Dara, but we do have Neil ready with his lesson of the day.
Welcome, got the lesson of the day here, and we're going to talk a little bit about catching a falling knife. Better yet known as CrowdStrike, what you have to be able to do if you're going to attempt to trade against the grain. We short pops, you bounce off support sometimes, but there is a big difference between something like, a stock is at a monster level, maybe it's a multi-week support or multi-month support, and you're bouncing off that, you go long on some strength when you see some buyers, and trying to get a rebound trade, like the rubber band trade. And the thing about the rubber band trade is you want it to work right away. When you're catching that falling knife and just looking for that quick bounce, you've got to be able to get out if it doesn't work. So just to give you the lay of the land, I think we all know what happened on Friday with CrowdStrike, and certainly lots of companies affected by it, but the stock gapped down, found a bounce. We gapped down again today, and it was all free fall when it got through that open bid. We talk about the SSR rule, so that means when it was down over 10% on Friday, and again here today, so you have today SSR, it's going to be tomorrow SSR. What that simply means is when it's short sell restricted, you cannot remove liquidity from the bid, so actively hit the bid to go short unless the last print is an uptick. Now, this can cause the stock, when it does bounce, to have a few less shorts on the way up and give it a little bit more juice. So I like to look for bounces on moves like that. You saw on Friday, it bounced right at the open off $290. So the first look, and I would have laid out in the plan, going to look for a 280 bounce, going to look down at 75. If that breaks, 70 and 65. Each one of those $5 levels we're willing to have. The thing about this trade, as I said, always willing to get out quick if it can't go. If you look back on Friday, just going to go back to Friday to show you what happens when it works right away. There's your wick in at 290, immediate higher low, through VWAP, all green candles, and it trends up. So if that's going to happen, it's a pretty easy hold. We get that bounce. I get it on the way back up through 280, almost exactly at 280. It gets close to VWAP for the $2 and immediately fails back underneath. That's an out. For me, that's not a hold till the bottom. On a strong stock with a dip buy, like if it's, oh my goodness, everyone wants to dip buy NVIDIA, everyone wants to dip buy Apple, maybe not today, but one of those good stocks with a support level, yeah, you're going to give it to that bottom, maybe try it again on a higher low. But when it's cratering like this, it's either it works and snaps up, doesn't, get out flat. Make this a winning trade, even though it didn't quite go the way you wanted. Same thing when it made another bounce here off of 75. Took it a couple of times, could not go right away, couldn't get through that lower high. Again, just no continuation, so we're not holding it back through, we're not fighting it, we wait for the next level to the downside. This entire time, if you were going short, you're absolutely, you're running things if you're going short the stock, there's no question about it. But when looking for that rubber band trade, we know we're gonna get some kind of a snapback when it's SSR. Can you actually find the level? We tried 270. 270 really wasn't any good. Smaller move. Again, do not hold. This is a cover as it flushes to the downside. Now, eventually, if you start getting in at 80 and you finish getting in at 65, let's just say, there's some path to actually winning on the way to VWAP. But I think you're just better off. It falls into the next level. We get it. It runs the stop. I actually get out before taking any profit and then jump back in on a higher low. Each time I'm catching that knife into a key level, I am willing to get out the second it looks bad and can't hold. We're scalping into previous resistance. We're getting the you-know-what out of dodge when it looks really, really nasty. And as always, you've got to have these profit targets, whatever it might be, taking into first resistance. If it goes further, you look like a bit of a heel. Fine, fair enough. But if you get nothing out and it retraces to the low again, then you're just losing on the stock all the way through. I'd rather take my shots, be up, take one hit in here, take one in here, be up, go 3 for 5 and have it be a good stock, having missed out on the big move, per se, we still got half of it, then just be sitting there getting rinsed the entire time as it heads into the downside. It is a very, very tricky trade when you're looking for that rubber band action. It's a different strategy than what you might be used to, because you want that immediate snapback. And that is different from a support and resistance trade. I'm going to show you, Apple is having trouble. I mean, everyone can see that. But Apple, a stock where you fall down into a support level like this, it's a little bit different of a trade. I think when you have a support level like this in Apple, and again, I was trading Crowd and not necessarily Apple, but you go into a big support level, and you might be willing to give it some room underneath that 223.25. It's at Friday's lows. You wait for it to get down to Friday's lows. You've seen it wick underneath before. You're going to give it some chances at that same price. It breaks. You're probably willing to hold it to the even to get a move up. If you trend back up off the bottom, you've got room into VWAP. It's just a little bit different. Apple's not bleeding all day long like CrowdStrike is, relatively speaking. Yeah, it's red on the day. It's moved a couple of dollars. But typically, Apple, when it gives you that move into a support level, you tend to find some buyers in there when things calm down. And we got a much bigger move on Thursday, and now you're holding essentially some higher lows. That is an actual support area on Apple that you can identify. And it doesn't mean it's going to work if you just go long off of that, but it is vastly different from there being absolutely nothing underneath CrowdStrike right now, except for whatever levels it happens to currently make. So instead of guessing that it's going to hold a level, take your shot, be willing to have multiple ones, and if you can't take multiple shots at it, have a good risk to reward structure that lets you get out of dodge if things start to look bad. I cannot stress that enough. You do want to be careful when you're catching a falling knife. It can be absolutely fantastic, as we said, on Friday, clean. You only had to do it once. So yeah, you want to take another shot at it today that it can do a similar thing, fine. But if you just assumed that it was going to do the same initial move and just rally for you all day, you got absolutely burned. So there's nothing wrong with taking your shots at it. Make sure you're maintaining profit, have an out. When it goes through that out, don't try to be a hero holding. This is not a situation where you're just dip buying quality company. You're buying on bad news as the stock is flushing. It'll provide you with opportunities, but it is a pure momentum play, that SSR bounce. And if the momentum doesn't come in at the level you choose, Your job is to get out of the trade. Can't stress that enough as the market comes right back into the lows. And the lesson of the day is over. Well, it's trying to. CrowdStrike certainly is, Sean. And I was about to get some of my personal account. I'm going to go and do that now. There's your lesson of the day.
Shout out to Neil, man. He needs to print. He's got to print in the personal account as well as the trade. Adara, I'm short the future over here. I already wet my beak on some profits. I'm looking for a 19.9 rejection. I don't want to be shaking out of this trade a little bit too early, but I'm seeing topping tail candles on a lot of names. So I'm trying not to get shaken out, but I did see that, move up possibly into 19.9. We know 19.9 is not just that 100-point level, but it is Friday's closing print on the NQ September contract. Yes, I realize I'm trading the TQQs, but I'm basing my analysis off the NQ September contract. So I'm keeping my eye on 19.899er because that is the Friday closing print, Adara. So keeping my eye on that, looking to wet my beak possibly into the 70s over here with my stop. Yes, Adara, I need to get that off you. Above 73.11. What are you looking at on that side of the desk?
Yeah, I am in CrowdStrike. I'm very hesitantly in CrowdStrike. Why do I okay, now I'm a lot less hesitant. Why was I so hesitant? We were holding that 264 decently. I liked it because even though we did have that bottoming tail candle, we had lower highs, right? So I was like, Adara, you like the short. You could not break back into 265. So try the short 264.50s. I ended up getting 264.44. So a little bit lower than what I wanted, but not like too horrifically chasey. I can live with that. I would love to see us break below 264 on the sell side. Not sure we're going to do that. But CrowdStrike, you want to take me to take 25 pennies? I'm okay with that. We really, I just want to see what we do here as we get closer and closer to that 264 level on the sell side. Buy side giving up a little bit. It's always a little bit harder when you go to spread, like what we do with CrowdStrike. Okay, we're at 264. What are you going to do from here, CrowdStrike? Yes, I am talking to the stock a little bit. Sometimes you got to have that conversation with them, that back and forth. We're about 50 pennies in the money with this. Let's see if we can get much lower. I don't love us coming back to 264. So we're going to get out here, come back down to those just below that 264 level. I'd be pleased this punch out of that trade there. Thank you, I appreciate that. Took about 60 pennies on CrowdStrike. Just because you strike out and trade earlier doesn't mean you can't come for it again. That's what's great about baseball. You have multiple innings, not just the one. And that's about as much as I know about baseball. But that metaphor aside, all good there. I'm looking at Netflix still as well. My other spready name that I've been looking at for the past few days. I have 2 L's right now on Netflix, putting the L in NFLX. Oh. But yeah, a little bit of a sad pun there. But I do like that we're having these higher lows here. I haven't had a good entry opportunity, but if we have a bounce here, say off the 90 MA, if I see anything in the book we like, I shall be getting involved. Vic Jan Novak saying, crowd going down to the 250, methinks. Yeah, I certainly don't disagree with you here. We are making lower highs here and lower lows. Let's take a look. But this 264 kind of spicy. Happy I got it where I did because that 264 is sort of holding here. I want to take a look at that daily chart to see if there's any sort of confluence or past level here for crowd to potentially strike at that 250. Let's zoom out on this daily chart. Wow, okay, it's been a while since we've been down here for CrowdStrike. Let's see the last time we got here for this level. You know what might be more interesting to me? 261. We're a couple dollars away. Why do I say 261? Look at that area we popped into, then rejected. That was going to be around that 261, 262 level. To me, that level is going to be more interesting. If we break below that, though, I would definitely agree. I'd say look out below. 250, though, definitely a clean area just because it is like that whole dollar 250 level. But chart-wise, I kind of find that 243 interesting if we break below 260s. Why do I say that? Because that was a previous area of support. We had a little bit of resistance around there previously as well. So I'd be watching 243s. Again, not advice, just my take on the chart. Netflix, whatever you do at 648, you want to bounce? You want me to get involved? I don't know. Maybe you do. But if there's any tickers you guys are looking at, we want you to get involved. How do you do that, you may ask? Maybe you didn't. But if you did, if there's any tickers you want to see the big kahunas talk about, have Sharif break down for you on the green screen, you're going to go exclamation point, join space, $, get involved in the chat. Because we want to see everyone get involved here. We want to see you part of this awesome segment that is brought to you by Real Trading. So that's, really CrowdStrike, Netflix, my 2 main things I'm looking at here. I did take an L on Tesla during the fabulous Neil lesson of the day, which I will talk about briefly. But speaking of Neil's lesson of the day, I would love to thank here. We have a super chat from Adam DeLuce. £5 super chat. Neil deserves an apple fritter or 2 for the lessons. Certainly shout out to that. So thank you very much to Adam DeLuce for that. Can't lose with that super chat. Also, Tesla, I tried to take the short here at 247.50s, lost in it. We broke into 248s, didn't manage it well enough. It's all good there, baby. You just got to keep going, find opportunities. Tesla VWAP bounce around that 248 level, and I want to shout out Sharif for shorting that 248 earlier. 248 was certainly a level of resistance and now support on Tesla, so I might hop into that cyber truck. Beep, beep, watch out. I'm coming for you, maybe. How are you doing, Sava?
Good. We just got long on Sava. Reason I got long, even though I have shorts, is it did the VWAP retracement. So we're going to want to see if it gets back. I mean, that's the whole trick here, is to take a VWAP dip and we'll give it a little bit of room over here. So we'll put that in there. I should mention that Mira halted down big on that last halt because it was a 10-minute halt. We kept saying that all the halts so far on Mira were 5 minutes. Well, there you go. You get a 10-minute down halt, and this gaps down aggressively. The opening print there was around sub 3. It was around 295, 296. But now we're halted to the upside yet again. We're halted at 312. So we defend 3. You can make the argument because the closing print ended up being above $3. But lo and behold, look where that dip comes into, right at that 20-period exponential at around 290 thereabouts. So we'll see what we can get there. We're out of the money, sadly, now on Sava. So this is breaking down below the volume-weighted average price. Okay, we're 1 penny out of the money. Calm down. I'm looking to wet my beak at 80s, mid-80s or so. But if it does break 50s, that's a line in the sand. It's going to have to hold the VWAP, the volume-weighted average price, for me to stay interested in this one. So that's what we're looking at there, and we'll see what we get. What else is going on over here? Let me just mention I had a couple of other things I want to talk about. I totally forgot. Yes, Dan Emmons was telling me that the ES has reclaimed the IB low. And so that's one thing I made a mistake on. I don't have that ES chart. Oh, it's over here. What am I saying? There we go. Now I know I'm just tripping because I forgot about that. There we go. Nice. Let's just move everything over. Now we got the ES chart. So the IB low on the ES, shout out Dan Emmons right here. Okay, I see what you're looking at, Dan. So that 1005 print at around 55.76, 55.75, and then we dip below that, but we do bottoming tails below that, and we curl right back up. So I see, because I was short the T triple Qs for that 19.9 rejection on the ES September contract. Yeah, Katina, man. Look, we're right at 19.9 right now. Look at the umpteen amount of bounces we had at 19.9. Now we're coming to reject it a little bit. So that 100-point level, both acting as support and resistance, right now we're right at it. We're 5 points below 19,900. We're going to see how this resolves. Above 19,900 at about that quarter-point level, I'm talking about 25 points, 19,925, is the volume-weighted average price. But more important to me for our purposes at the moment is to see what we do at 19.9. And I'm seeing some good bouncing coming in here on the Mag 7. I'm seeing NVIDIA now above the volume-weighted average price. I see Tesla working its way up possibly into 250. I'm also looking at the soft one curling right back up into 441s. I think I got stopped out of Cassava. Let's go over here and find out what the hell happened. Yes, I did get stopped out of Cassava. This one is just absolutely tanked. So it drops right there. No volume weighted average price hold. The third time is not a charm. So use supports, use stops. Don't let this one go against you like crazy, because there you go. Big boy drop. So how much did we lose there? Yeah, we lost about 20 pennies. That's the real deal. So a bit of a tougher look now on Cassava Sciences. We're going to have to weasel our way out of this. We had shorts for this one, but for whatever reason, took the long on the VWAP bounce. So now we'll see if it can weasel its way back into VWAP at that 1270, 12 2/3. I'll be looking to short it off there now that we've broken the volume-weighted average price to the downside. So we'll keep an eye on Cassava Sciences. Mira still halted at 312. Not much happening there. Tesla at that 249.50. We've had multiple rejections on Tesla at this level, but yeah, the future really helping this one move up a little bit, Adara.
Yeah, I'm getting back involved in CrowdStrike. I'm striking again while the iron is hot. You might be like, Adira, why are you so fixated on this name? I mean, like I said, I was really interested in that 264 level. I said I thought it was holding like crazy. Made me kind of nervous when I was in the short. We ended up breaking below it, but we recovered it very quickly. Then I said, Adira, if we can break above that 264.50s, if we can break into that 265s, this could be a decent long. I dislike my point of entry. I got involved at 265. Could have been a bit more patient here, especially because we're still below the 90 MA. This trade currently is going against me. I want to see what we do here. If we get back to the 264.50s in the book, I might have been a bit too eager on this name, but I did, I like that hold there. This trade definitely not necessarily going to be my cup of soup. That is for darn sure. I need to be very careful here. We're gonna have to get out. I went from being very excited to very what the heck over here in a brief period of time, but that's what the markets do to you sometimes. That's unfortunate there. So I did have to check on my P&L just to make sure no one got shut down or anything. It wasn't a massive loss. Took a little bit more size with it. Happy I tried it. I liked it. Entry point wasn't great. Got to keep going. Got to keep pushing, finding other opportunities. Right now, I do not have my mind or my eyes on too much here. I like IWM, actually, IWM, which is, of course, the Russell 2000, my weird nickname for it aside. The IWM, I've got my IW mind on this one because we have had some interesting patterns here around to this 218. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Look at the flat top we got here to 218. I like this look. Let's see what happens here on this here market with this IWM. What else is going on here? What else are we looking at? SPY, kind of interesting to me as well. We're at the 90 MA. Oh. First pushback of the day. I'm trying to be more careful with my pushbacks because microphone. But I love this level here. What is this? 552.30. Bounce. Bounce. Bit of a rejection here. Let's see what happens. Shout out to Sean James. Crowd is barcoding. Be patient. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that 264. I had my reasons for getting involved. I just should have been more cognizant about my entry. And that's why I'm so happy to be in this desk because I get to learn here every single day. Honestly, what's better than that? You're not going to be perfect overnight. You have to accept that. Just got to keep going. Got to keep pushing. No issue with that. But I see you have some answers here for the TQQ Q&A.
I really hope so. I like that Q&A.
Didn't really work.
We're rejecting 19.9, Adira. So, I mean, we're not flushing or anything like that, but I'm going to take my shot over here. Adam Deleuze, Sean Katina on the TQQ. What's Sean doing? Are you long? You're long the TQQs? I'm getting out.
No, I'm long.
You're long, I know, from the 72s. Yeah, 72.26. A Katina man's short. I mean, he's long 72.26. So he's got a bit of a different trade than me at 19.9 right over here. We'll see exactly what happens. I'm seeing NVIDIA above VWAP here, and that's making me a little nervous, not going to lie. The stop's already in place. Come what may, we'll see exactly what we do on this trade. The stop and the beak wetter. I'm going to give a few more minutes here to the lesson before we start again. I want to mention a couple of small cap gappers that we've been looking at on the day. MIRA halted now to the downside again. So did have an initial down halt, 10-minute down halt, up halted again at around 12:15. Now we're down halted again on MIRA at 307. It's now up 345% above $3 above the 20 exponential, but definitely now starting to correct a little bit more. CMAX as well has been interesting. There's been this area hold at 3 2/3 and basically resistance at 4 and 440, 4.5, give or take at that area. I got stopped out of my long on Cassava Sciences, but I'm very interested in getting short, possibly at the volume weighted average price, using it as a level of resistance. Previously was using it as support. So basically looking at these small cap gappers, we've got Donald John Trump up, but it hasn't done anything. Bless you, Neil. SERV also has been on watch, but it's not been, the kind of the monster that it's been as of late. MEIP, yeah, definitely not one that's doing a lot of movement, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I don't want to disrespect it or anything. All right, here we go. We were making nice moves to the downside a second ago on said future. All right, so there we go. Now we're printing over here. So good drop down, nicely in the money. I just wet my beak again on this one. We've been, rinsing and repeating the shorts on the future, even though it's been an uptrend. Not my kind of style over here, not going to lie, but that's the look. Let's see if we can get something at 76, 77s. If we can wet our beak in and around there, my out is going to be the break of a new high. Again, you know, I'm seeing these candles come in, make lower highs at a critical level of 19.9. So I don't want to paper hand the trade, but, you know, the market has a way of bamboozling you. So looking to de-risk at key areas, already doing decently on this one over here, waiting at 75s. We wet our beak at 82s, but just too much strength in this market, I guess. NVIDIA, the monster, is keeping everybody up. I don't know what the hell's going on over here. Apple is back at the 10 exponential on the 5. That could be another short on this one, as Apple has been dead money all dang day. Shout out to Adara, who just printed on something there. We'll find out shortly what she's doing. 224 possibly top. But, you know, most of the prints really have come off that 10 exponential. Well, we can wait here on Apple, if possible. 224 and a third could be another interesting one. That is the closing print from Friday. It's also where the 20 exponential on the 5 is hanging out at the moment. So that could be another possible area for us. But right now, we are fighting with the futures. It's right back into our area again as a result of, looks like, this Apple strength here, because I'm not seeing anything really print green candles except NVIDIA on Apple, and that's pushing the future back into 73. So now we're break even on the last little bit here after printing on that 82 dip. Adara.
Yeah, so print was a strong word. Took like 10 pennies on Tesla. Really what I needed, and I've said this a lot, sometimes I feel like I make some better trades, or I think my brain gets back in gear when things are going against me. I don't think that's necessarily healthy or a good thing, but it is what it is, and I'm trying to learn to work with that. I did have that CrowdStrike striking me in the face a little bit there in that last trade, and again, the entry point wasn't great, probably took too much size with it, yada, yada. But then I saw what we had here in Tesla. I'll talk about NVIDIA in a minute. And I like that I watched what we were doing here with that 249s. We get to 248.80s, we bounce right back up, hold 249s. I only ended up taking about 9, 10 pennies. I really couldn't risk very much, but it was what I needed. It's like Adara, sometimes your instincts are good. You have to trust those instincts. You are a scalper, try to take the scalp. I had some trades that went okay last week that were not necessarily scalps, like Netflix or CrowdStrike, but those are, you have to recognize sometimes those are going to be anomalies. They're not going to be the rule. So right now I'm trying to focus more back on those scalpier instincts. I like NVIDIA here, holding VWAP. Again, entry point could have been better, could have gotten involved in 75s instead of 80s. If we break below 70s here, I will have to say goodbye to NVDA. I'm going to have to be out VDA. Yeah, I don't like this here. We're going to have to get out. Took a bit of a paper cut on this. The trades I take from now on are going to be very cautious. You know, I definitely need to be less involved in these spreadier names, focusing on the names that are screaming out to me, trade me, trade me, trade me. That's what I need to be doing. You know, the thing is, I'm not going to get too down on myself, because you have to learn, right? You're going to have good days, you have bad days. You got to take the highs and the lows, as Chance the Rapper said in a song once. And that's what one of the best parts of trading is. You just have to get used to being able to take those hits and get back up. So that's what we got there. On NVDA, took a little bit of a hit, and NVDA took a small win on Tesla. I'm going to go back to trying to scalp these Mag 7 names for now. I need to get back to basics. Shout out to Christina Aguilera and take trades that make sense. Shout out to Urso saying that they are also long NVDA. I want to see NVIDIA back here above VWAP. It looks like we have a little bit of resistance here at just below that 122 area. Had this come into question a couple times, so I'm going to keep my eye on this. Tesla, though, for me, I have a bit clearer scalp levels on. So, see what happens.
All right, cool. We'll start the lesson. I'm still in this triple Q short, but I've put my beak wetter, I've put my stop. I feel confident that the triggering mechanisms will be fine. I'm just very interested in some other trades right now. Tesla is weaseling its way into 250, and it's not clearing it with any vigor. I'm also looking at Apple. I'm looking at the dead one at the 10 exponential on the 5. That's the green line on my charts. That'll always be the solid green line, never any other color. And look, you're already getting a bit of a red marker on this new 5-minute candle. We'll see exactly what we get, and we will not get upset, as Neil says. So we're going to pack our patience. Stops are in place. Beak wetters are in place. Come with me. All right, so let's get to work, baby. We are talking about gaps all week long, likely for even longer than that. We really want to get a bit nuanced, learn how to use gaps intraday, swing, and learn about all the different types of gaps and what they mean and how we can use them. So let's get right down to it, baby. Welcome, traders. Today's lesson, can you believe it, dives into gaps in technical analysis. So let's get right down to it. For the newer traders, what are gaps? They're probably wondering. So imagine on a price chart, right? Normally, price bars move up and down, recording trading activity throughout the day, throughout the period, whatever you're looking at. But sometimes there's essentially a jump from one candle to another. And there is kind of nothing in between, kind of dark space, white space, black space, depending on what color your charts are. No trading happens there. That's the gap, essentially. And what happened is it's essentially signifying to you in a visual way the difference between the closing price on one period and the opening price on another. So you close every day on the stock market at 4 p.m. and you open the next day at 9:30. But the trading doesn't end there. There is aftermarket trading that goes from 4 to 8 and pre-market trading, which goes from 4 a.m. to 9:30. Now there's even more. There is Blue Ocean, which you can trade 24 hours on, but that doesn't really influence our lesson for the moment. So what we're talking about is the movement that happens after. Just keeping my eye. Let me look at the TQQs over here on the side chart so I can get an idea of what the hell is going on. I'm going to have to put it up. Sorry, just allow me a second, guys, while I set up my side screen here with set TQQs. There we go. No, it's right here, Ram. Oh, no, it's facing you. It's facing you. It's pointing right at you. It's, you know, everything is about you, Ram. No, kidding. So why do gaps happen? All right, so this is a gap first and foremost. So I was just kind of explaining it on the chart there. You have price action, zigging and zagging. Each candle represents the high, the low, the open, the close. But then there's a big space between, again, the closing print on one candle and the opening print on another. And I just got stopped out of the future there. So I just have to get out and make sure everything's kosher. Yes, I did get stopped out. I just have to look at the other side over here. Yeah, so it looks like there is a move up right now. I'm gonna have to stop the lesson for a second because I really want to take this short on Apple. And then I'm gonna put a short defend of 224. So let's go 224 and we'll go 07, 24. 10, all right. And then what is the short around here? We'll go, yeah, okay, perfect. So we'll hang out like that on the dead one. So we'll see exactly what's going on there. Let me just load up. I apologize, guys. Just allow me a second over here to we'll get organized. So why do gaps happen, essentially, okay? Think of gaps as sudden shifts in supply and demand. All right, news events like earnings reports or major economic releases happening outside of market hours, they can trigger buying and selling frenzies when the market reopens, causing the price to gap up, open higher, or gap down, open lower. Goes both ways compared to the previous close, right? And so what are the different types of gaps? And we're going to spend more than a day on each one of these, but just to introduce them to you now, breakaway gaps. These are gaps that kind of jive with support and resistance. They occur when the price jumps above a resistance or below support, potentially signaling a trend breakout. And here's a case in point. So we get this lower trend line, all the crests reject off that the upper trend line sloping downward. Then a news headline comes in or whatever that causes the price to gap up significantly the previous day. And this is something we're going to talk about in future lessons. It should typically be accompanied by increasing volume, okay? So you definitely need to keep your eye on that. And this is the exact same type of thing, the breakaway gap, but to the downside. So you're trending higher, you're making higher lows, all the closing prints are bouncing off this lower trend line, then boom, a news catalyst comes in overnight, you're gapping down, and you start making a new trend to the downside. Exhaustion gaps, exactly like what they sound like they are. They appear at the end of a strong trend. They might indicate possibly the loss of momentum and a possible trend reversal. And what do they look like? Exactly. They're at the end of the trend. So you get these big moves up, and then it gaps up over here, but then you'd get no continuation. In fact, you gap down. So that should have been your kind of little hint that we were, that was possibly an exhaustion gap, because then you got a downward gap 2 candles later. And then that was confirmed by the chart pattern that's taking place here, this double top, and then you get a nice move right back down. I'm just keeping an eye on Apple over here at 291. Okay? And this is kind of the exact same thing, but to the downside, you gap down over here, and then this is basically your buy signal, but we're not going to get too much into that. We're going to talk about where to get in and get out. with your entries and exits and your stops in later lessons. So common gaps. These are the more frequent and often fill up quickly. They have minimal impact on your overall trend or overall trading, and they typically appear during these consolidative periods where there is no discernible trend. So sometimes you have like, a range. Let's say 165, the one that we always talk about, 165 to 200 on Apple before that 200 break. And so you could have gapped up umpteen amount of times between 165 and 200, and that still would have been considered a common gap because you were not breaking out any range and you didn't have a discernible trend. It was a bit sideways, a little at 165, and then obviously in between, then a little at 200. And then you'll see that kind of displayed here very, very, obviously, where we've got a clear top, clear bottom, but we gap up and down multiple times, all of which get filled. They're not really reflective of any distinct trend. And the last but not least are island gaps. I'm an island boy, surrounded by trading activity on both sides, okay? And these ones, I didn't have any idea what they were until I read this particular lesson. They're not mentioned in John J. Murphy's book, nor are they mentioned in the Chartered Market Technician materials, not that I've seen, at least not the first lesson. So they're surrounded with trading activity on both sides. They don't necessarily predict a strong directional move, but there are some of them that are reversal patterns, and we'll talk more about those on different days. And there they are. So there are these three candles that are surrounded. Oh, Apple's breaking above 224. I might be in trouble on this trade. Likely we'll get stopped out over here. Let me just have a look. And I did get stopped out there. So Apple, yeah, bit of a tougher trade for me today on Apple. Negative on that. And so these gaps here, they're surrounded by nothing. They really don't have anything on their right side or on their left side. They're kind of on their own. And then really what they're distinct about is the fact that they gap back down, or they could gap back up if you found them at the lower end of the range. But these are basically what island gaps are. They're kind of these candles that float amongst themselves that are not really part of the trend, but they typically do end up reversing. So are gaps reliable indicators? Not always. Gaps can be misleading, and here's why. Oh, sorry, by the way, this is an island gap as well. Well, first reason is false breakouts. Breakaway gaps can sometimes lead to the price quickly reversing, creating what we call a false breakout. So especially on those breakaway gaps where you're really basing the gap on key areas of technical support and resistance. And when you get a break of that gap and then you trend back down, that's when you kind of have an idea that it was a false breakout. But there's also a lot of market noise which can cause gaps, right? For example, a name may move up in sympathy with another name which has the catalyst. And then the sympathy name ends up filling the gap because, well, there's nothing fundamental specifically to it. It was just moving in sympathy. So the market noise here can definitely bamboozle you at times. So how can we use gaps effectively, right? First and foremost, confirmation is key. No question about that. Don't base your decisions solely on gaps. Look for confirmation from other technical indicators like volume or moving averages. We'll talk about that in future lessons. As well as volume matters. No question about it. I don't think I've seen an indicator where volume hasn't mattered that much, but high trading volume alongside a gap strengthens the signal significant. And gap filling. We kind of talked about that with common gaps, but the price might return to fill the gap in the future, offering potential future entry and exit points. And remember, guys, gaps are just one piece of the puzzle. Use them alongside other technical analysis tools to have proper risk management and better informed trading decisions in there.
Yeah, I think the cool thing with volume and gaps too is because why I like that was emphasized is because that shows there's a lot of interest in whatever move that was, right?
True.
A lot of people who thought, oh yeah, we're going to go up on whatever news catalyst, or a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to go down, right? Like I think you often see earnings gaps with volume, right? It just shows an extra amount of attention. So if we add a gap at a certain level, that can be key. I'm watching Tesla here. Tesla with this 250 area is deeply fascinating to me. We have not one, but now we're trying to form a second topping tail candle at 250. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Shout out to Obi there. I really like this 250 on Tesla. If we break below it and retest it, I'm getting involved in this short I waited, I was patient. I did not want to rush into this because, like I said, my trading today has been a little bit iffy, to say the least. But you can't, you really can't give up on yourself like that. If you see stuff you like, you do owe it to yourself to make those attempts. Right now, we're still back above that 250. Like I said, patience is going to be absolutely key here, even more important than the keys I am punching. Let's see what we do here. I'm comfortable right now. We're well enough below that 250. Let's see if we get filled. I clapped just for getting filled. We haven't actually done anything in this yet. I want to see how we do here if we break below. If we come back above 250s in any kind of salient way, most likely 250-10s, I'm going to have to get out here. Like I said, I don't have a ton to risk. I did make some mistakes on CrowdStrike. I made some mistakes on Netflix. But you know what? You can't let yourself get too down on that. If you see stuff you like, you do owe it to yourself to make those attempts. We did pop back up here in Tesla, though. I've got to get out. I can no longer justify staying in this in any way. So go out there on TSLA. Maybe if we get back down again, we'll try that again. But I did have a trade on IWM I wanted to talk about. IWM has been kind of rangy all day, and I tried to take advantage of that. So EWM, or Russell, or whatever you want to call it, look at this. Some lower highs, lower lows. I got involved in this short because we had that lower high here below 80s. Took about like 13 pennies on it, nothing crazy, but I do like the fact that we're kind of bouncing between 217.60s and 217.80s on this area. Should I take Rob looking at Apple? Look at Apple on the 15-minute chart. Too many bottoming tail candle or bottoming wick candles. Yeah, let's take a look here on A to the H to the P to the L. See what's Tim cooking on this name. Take a look at, see if we can get the Steve Jobs done here with these 15-minute candles. Oh, I see what you mean. There's certainly a lot of support forming if you look at the 15 here on AAPL. Couple topping tail candles too, though, just above into that 224.10s. I think Apple's trying to decide what it wants to be right now. I think, though, you're right. There is some possibility we could see some Apple turnover on this chart. We had that wick into 223 in the 15-minute. We haven't gotten really below that, so I think AAPL is still trying to pick a direction. Also, someone was asking why we call this the dead one. It is a reference to Apple's good old days of being a stock that moved very little on an intraday basis. Now, of course, Apple has been brought back to life, a little bit rejuvenated, but it was the dead one for quite some time. And that's why we call it that in honor of its previous self. So there we go. Like I said, trying to be very cognizant of the trades I take. Not super proud of the trading I've been doing today, but that doesn't mean you can't keep going and finding opportunities if they exist. I never want to give up. I never want to, had a really good day on Friday. That does not mean you're going to continue having good days. And that's the best part of trading is you have to force and fight for yourself every single day. I want to keep doing that. Come on, market. Let's see what we got cooking, or Tim cooking, as I look at Apple. But yeah, I agree, Groff. There's something very strange with that 15-minute chart. Let's see how we resolve on A to the A to the P to the L.
So while, I took a short there and I was able to print on it a little bit, but that's after getting stopped out. Obviously, while we were talking and doing the lesson, I'm still seeing some weakness on Apple. I get Gaurav what he's saying, and what he's saying is absolutely accurate. You don't see umpteen amount of bottoming tails like that on the 15 without thinking that there's support. So I completely respect what he's saying and what your analysis, but I think intraday there still may be some weakness here, and obviously much to my chagrin. I don't want this thing to go down. I want it straight up in a line, no pullbacks, no red candles. Apple, I want all the money that is possibly due. So we'll just keep an eye on that. I'm kidding, guys. All right, so I'm looking here short on Amazon now, but I'm seeing that the winds of change are coming on the futures, right? So the future now above 19.9, above VWAP. I'm seeing a lot of green candles on NVIDIA. I'm seeing some greenerage on Microsoft. I'm seeing it on Meta. I'm seeing it on Amazon. So there is some winds of change here coming, so I don't want to be quick to get in a short on AMZN, especially because the future has recovered decently here, about 127 points off said low. We almost got into 19.8, but Apple I still think is weak. I mean, so definitely any sign of weakness in this market, I will be looking short on Apple unless the trend on its chart has changed, and for whatever reason, it's running independently. So right now, Softy, interesting to me. Sorry, not Softy, the Zon, AMZN, interesting to me because of where it's trading at the moment at the volume weighted average price, 183 2/3, 183 3/4. I don't need to be first into this. I just want a candle, a 5-minute candle to make a new low to kind of show me that topping out at VWAP and then incrementally making newer lows. It's already a downtrend. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see the lower high. If you base it on the pre-market high there at around 840, crest, and lower crest. So multiple 4 lower crests on the 5. I'm not sure how everybody else is charting this. But right now, it's getting a break above the volume weighted average price. It's done this before on a wick basis and then reverted back down. 2 doji candles preceding this solid green candle right now. But what was preceding as well was a nice little uptrend off that 182.50. So even though we have umpteen amount of lower highs, we still have higher lows since 1150 onward. So we're going on an hour now of higher highs and higher lows on the Zon. So that is something to take into consideration as well as the future, as I said, recovers off those lows. So packing my patience with these names. I'm not sure exactly how they're trading at the moment, but what I see is Tesla as well at this 250, and I'm unsurprised that Tesla is putting in a bit of resistance at 250. So let's load up the Cybertruck over here. Do we still have it up on our trading screen? No, we took it off. So we'll take off the dead one. No, I want the dead one on there. We'll take off Amazon. We'll put TSLA. And have a look there. And we did have generally resistance there as well at 10:15, right? So absolutely, Ram, of course. Just give me a hot second and I'll do that. I'm keeping my eye on Tesla because I want to see how this resolves. It put in some, these topping tail doji candles. I don't want to be first to the party, though, with Tesla because it has a way of slapping you in the face and making you feel like poop. So I'm going to pack my patience, but I see the market with a bit of a stronger trend recovery at the moment. Adair, if I can send it to you while I set up for the ad read.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still looking at some stuff here. I had a trade on the SPY that, oh, look at that. SPY was a bamboozler there. I got involved at 252 at 56. The second I punch in, the thing drops 5 pennies. Given the amount of risk we had, that was not optimal. That was very suboptimal. I was like, okay, SPY, that's fun. Do your thing. Let's see where we go. We couldn't get back to 50s. I got out. I still think we're in a bit of an uptrend here, but I'm going to be patient with it. Yeah, I know I'm smiling, but I have to, you got to smile through stuff sometimes, right? Things are not going to be perfect. You're just going to keep pushing, keep going. That is how the market goes. It will try to take your lunch money, and it will take your lunch money, and you got to keep trying to find opportunities. That's why, as much as I stay positive, I do take everything very seriously because you got to in these here wild markets. But yeah, now we have time to thank our lovely sponsors that help us navigate these wild markets.
Yeah, absolutely. Benzinga Pro is one of those. Are you tired of being late to the trade? I know it used to keep me up at night. Always playing catch up in the market, missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everybody else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their trading strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial today. And it would not be an ad read, Adara, if I didn't include you in this. I mean, I have to. I mean, it's just ritual at this point.
Yeah.
Adara uses Benzinga very, very effectively. And, a lot of the data that we get on this here desk and from up there as well is vis-a-vis for Benzinga. So we want to shut them out. And I should also mention, Adara, that I used to use them as well back in the day when I first started trading. And they were really good with customer support. If I wanted to learn how to use an option that I didn't really, they would text me back. It was pretty cool. It was like actually texting them off my phone.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so shout out to them. I think they do the absolute most in a good way. And if you're interested and you have the need for it, definitely check them out right there, 50% off. And yeah, good luck. All right, shout out to the Katina Man. The TQs are flying and the Katina Man's printing up a storm. Thank goodness I was able to get out of that monster. Well, Katina Man, we talked about it. We said the winds of change were coming a little bit, right? And there it is. The winds of change have basically manifested, and we are now 150 points off the low on the NQ September contract. So yes, there was all sorts of weakness to start off the morning. We had a double top at around 20,000. Huadunk went the dynamite. We dropped about 200 points, but now we're recovering 150 of those points. So we'll see exactly what that means for the Mag 7, because that's what we got up right now, Adara. We're looking at the Mag 7, and it does not take a chartered market technician to see that Apple is all sorts of weak. I think if we retrace anywhere on this market, I'm talking about 20,000 and rejecting again, I am looking to short the dead one Apple. It's just awfully weak, and there doesn't seem to be a bid on it at the moment. Now, that may change. All of a sudden, someone turns on an algo, Uncle Warren, Apple's buyback, whatever. right? All of a sudden there's an algo one and it's buying, but right now I don't feel that there is much of a bid on Apple, especially as compared to some of its other Mag 7 compatriots here and there.
Yeah, shout out to the Mag 7 compatriots. I like that. IWM, I am a little IW myth that I did not trust myself. I like that you say compatriots. I've never heard them described as compatriots. I love when you called them the loser 4 last week. We had the Mag 7 and the loser 4. That was pretty funny. But yeah, Trend, I need you to help me find some trending tickers here. Let's go, little turtle friend. I like this IWM here. I like that we had the higher lows I was mentioning. This one kind of getting rangy and then breaking out. I liked 217.80s. Did not take it. That is definitely an L on my part. Then we had the SPY. Tried along here. Looks like got out of this too early. Like I said, didn't really have much to risk. The second I got in, the thing dropped like 5 pennies, like right on my point of entry. So that is obviously not great. But you know what? We're always going to continue looking for opportunities. That's one of the best parts of trading is you'll have ups, you'll have downs. The market will also have ups and downs, and you have to find ways to make things work. That's what's so exciting and thrilling. Someone in the chat was saying Tesla ready for the breakout. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're trying to break out here at that 250. Great push. I want to see what we do here. That previous little top around that 250.50. We're getting into that right now. As you can see, this top was accompanied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topping tail candles. Then we had a bit of a quadunk. Shout out to Sharif. So let's see what we do here. If we get back to this, what's this, like 930 opening top, 4 T to the S, the L to the A. We're trying to push above that level now. That being said, we do have some bottoming tail candles as well, so some support for Tesla coming into this level. I'm not going to jump into any trades. If I see something I love, I will definitely try to take it, but I'm trying to be, cognizant, patient as well. K-Fry making a great pod, and that's the thing about the elevator business. It has ups and downs. Great times there. Shout out. Looks like Sean closed the TQQ position there. Shout out to Sean Katina with definitely, killing that TQ's trade to this here upside. This beautiful, yet we go down and we have upside. Nice little, wow, I'm tired. Nice bounce here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something straight candles here of green on this here. TQs, bouncing off the 90 MA. I love this, the way we had this double bottom here with wicks at 73. Great level of support for the TQs. I'm going to sip on some coffee because clearly I need that. But then we were going to do the lesson soon because it is approaching that 1 o'clock hour. No auctions today, guys. We had some at 11:30, but none at 1. And time for some caffeine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking, make sure there's nothing afoot in these markets over here. Everything is good. All right. Well, as you can see over here, Ram, the TQQs on their way up. They're reflective of the overall market. Beautiful recovery off the bottoms. We were near 19.8, but great recovery there. Now let's see where the Mag 7 are at with this whole recovery that we've been in play. Well, Meta is at a good level here if we hold up at this on our ascent on the futures because it's at the volume weighted average price and it also got into a consolidation area low around 488. So I'd like to see what Meta does at this level. Very interesting and good possibility that it reverts, giving us possible dollar winners here because 483.90 is the low. We're printing 487.61. So that's another good look. Apple, I mentioned, any weakness on the market, I'm looking to short the dead one. The dead one is now getting back into Flatsville, and Flatsville is at 244 in the third. Flatsville, guys, I'm just joking. It means it goes flat on the day, so it's neither up nor down. That is the closing print from Friday, 224. Sorry, I said 244. 224.33. We are having issues breaking through that level. You can see we're topping tail into that level and not really printing above it. But I'm not going to just jump in willy-nilly. I want to see some weakness coming in the market. Now on the 5-minute look here on the future, we are putting in a red topping tail candle. It has not closed and it is one candle, mind you. And we still have 3 more minutes for the said candle to close. And Apple's not putting in any red. Okay, so that's a bit interesting here. Apple and the market are diverging. So Apple and the market are not moving in tandem, but what does seem to be moving with the market is NVIDIA. Very similar looks to both their charts, and they're on top of each other over here. So this is the NQ. Let me bring in the ticker so you can see the essentially similarities between both their charts. Very similar charts today on the NQ September contract and NVIDIA. They almost look like a carbon copy of one another. So that's how the market's moving. The beast is moving it today, the monster, NVDA. So I'm not going to base any Apple trades right now, at least not for the moment, on the market because I don't feel like they're moving in the same way. So topping tail coming in right now on NVDA, and this is an area that we rejected prior. This 122.75 there's a triple rejection from 10.55 to 11.05 before we big boy huadunked down into that 120 and a third. And this topping tail is showing you that there is sellers at that $0.75. And now it's down into $0.33. So good luck right now for the shorts on NVDA, but it is only one red candle in almost a sea of green. A sea of green printing to the high side on NVIDIA since essentially 11:35. So an hour of a retracement. Finally, we get, one distinctive outsized red candle. It still hasn't made a new low though. And if it has, it barely has. So this candle over here, the low on this monster is 32. This one's 31. Yeah, that's not enough for me on NVIDIA, a 1 penny break. No, so this is obviously a candle of indecision right now. This one right now printing at 12.55. It's got another minute before it closes right now. So NVDA and the future kind of candles of indecision, and we're looking at right here doji candles, unsure exactly what to make of this. Meta hasn't really cleared that 488 level with any vigor. Apple still dancing at the closing print from Friday. Amazon just a skosh above VWAP. I'm hesitant to say it's reclaim VWAP and now use VWAP as support. I don't feel it's that way, especially with the indecision candle on the futures. So definitely some selling here on Amazon at 184, but I'm not going to just jump into the short on this one. Yeah, unsure exactly here, Adara, because we're just like, we're at these interesting levels. We're at that 250 on Tesla. We're at that 122.75, which we rejected off on NVIDIA. And it's now putting in the second red candle right now on NVDA. So I'm unsure exactly how to play this. All the while, the dead one, which was retracing to the downside, is now moving up as the future has its kind of little moment of indecision right now. So unsure how to trade this. Hey, Davis, ARM is turning down now. Let's have a look at ARM. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a hell of a rounded top possibly coming in on the armed one over here. Let's have a look.
Armed one.
It's armed, Adara. It has multiple weapons.
And dangerous.
There it is.
Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button.
Which one is that?
Law and Order. You're armed and dangerous.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, this one interesting here, Adara, because it did come quite close into that VWAP area, 166. Now a couple of decisive red candles right now. ARM, not one that I've really traded. I don't think I've ever traded ARM on the show. Not 100% sure, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. But it's not one that I've been monitoring all day, so I'm less inclined to want to use it at the moment. Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna have a look at this for a little bit longer over here because yeah, the future just doing these candles of indecision. All right, I'll send it to you. I'm looking at Tesla as well.
It
this
looks so bearish to me.
But,
I showed it to the bears versus bulls saying, oh my God, words! So, exclamation point, join, space, $, the dead one.
Yes.
If you'd like to vote for Apple, which is being represented there, shout out to the bears versus bulls, or any other stock there. Maybe it's Tesla, maybe it's Microsoft, maybe it's other stocks. You go in there, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker you want to look at. Yeah, so that's what's happening here. I really like Tesla. I think Tesla looks bearish, but I'm not getting involved because, as you might be able to tell, I am in the sleepy phase of the day, and I do not trade tired. We're trying to not trade tired. I'm trying to do that. I did get rinsed earlier today, and so I am trying to avoid getting too many trades. It's just really, I'm not proud of the trading I've done today. It's always a little bit disappointing, but you have to think and reflect, what could I have done better? And I think some of it is just not getting anchored to ideas. Some of it is just taking smaller size. It's all good, baby, baby. This was not a dream. It was a nightmare, I will be honest, but it's all good there. You got to learn. You got to figure out how things go. I do think, though, Tesla, the reason I think Tesla looks a little bearish, let me explain. I was just about to do the vote again, but I will. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker you want to vote for. That wasn't what I was trying to say, though. I mentioned earlier all of this Tesla 250-50 action, all of these topping tail candles. We get up there, And look, we're trying to do it again. Topping tail candles is 251. Nope, not too interested. We come back down here. That being said, we're holding support beautifully just below that 250. I think that's worth noting. But we are struggling to decisively break above that 250.50. And I mean, that topping tail candle is 251. It's saying an awful lot. I don't want to short here yet. We reclaim that 250.50. Also, my brain is not, at a state that one should short. But let's see what we do here. I mean, I want to show Darwin saying 33% on IWM calls. Just moving my stop up. And I mean, yeah, IWM is calling to the upside here at highs of day. Earlier this morning on the small cap recap, I was like, oh yeah, IWM a bit weaker on the day. Yeah, Adara, what are you saying? I mean, at the time, to be fair, it was. But it has not been for quite some time. Look at this beautiful 218 bounce, rejection. We have some of these higher lows. We have this red candle, bounce off 218 in confluence with the 9 EMA. Oh boy, we'll move up to the upside here for the I to the W to the M. So great look there. If you're involved in EWIM, I want to shout out Darwin, anyone else who is involved in this. Let's take a look at Nike though, because we had, I believe, was it Hey Davis in the chat mentioning Nike? We had Grav mentioning Nike. So let's take a look, see where Nike's running here. Is it speed walking? Is it power walking? Is it Olympic training? This is doing a bit of Olympic
Neil
run
was calling
here.
this out earlier. Neil kept yelling about this earlier.
Nike earlier today as well. Certainly, they did wear Nikes over here. Shout out to Nikes by Frank Ocean, which is a great song here. Look at these bounces off the 9 EMA. We get into that 74.50. Then we have a bit of a huadunk with the rest of the market around the 11 a.m. period. We come up again. We can't make that 74.50, 550, whatever, this area that we made earlier. But that's okay. Nike does a bit of a slow, jogs and pace. It goes in the treadmill for a little bit, or the elliptical for a bit. Then we bounce here up 74.40 at 12.25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles. Straight half an hour jog. Then we make a beautiful bottoming tail candle at 75s, trying to hold on to this area no matter what weird exercise related pun you make. This is a great look for Nike. We like Nike over here. I think it's an awesome look. I would love to see it decisively break above the 75 area. I think I may indulge in some caffeine before we get to that lesson of the day.
Sure.
Would you like any caffeine?
Oh, no.
Sharif?
I'll take a water, though.
You'll take a water?
Yeah,
I mean, would you like any caffeine?
Don't get Ram any.
Okay, I will get you some water. I'll be back, hopefully not making weird Nike gestures over here. What are you looking at?
No problem. Thank you, Adair. I appreciate that. And yeah, Ram, we're just joking. Take it easy, Ram. Kill me. Jay Lee, my Boyle getting close to $12 now, holding it for 14 or 15. It might zigzag a bit, but I have conviction. Shout out to Jay Lee, because he was talking up a storm about Boyle, and I said, Jay, what are you seeing on nat gas? I mean, we're still printing lower lows, lower highs. Anybody who's seen Boyle today, it's up big. Shout out Jay. Hope you print. Goes without saying that is how I feel about that. Now, what we're getting is weakness on the dead one. Finally, we were talking about this. Where the hell is it? There it is. All right, good. All right, we're talking about this one, possibly rejecting here. Finally getting a topping tail on said future. But I'm just hesitant, guys. I got to tell you, because NVIDIA's putting another green candle in right now. And we just finished yapping about how NVIDIA and the future are trading together today, or so it seems. So I don't want to get short on Apple at 224 super quick, only to have it break and pop up above that third of a dollar. So it's in no man's land right now, in between 224 and Friday's closing print at 33. So nothing for me to do right now other than to watch what these futures do. Now, we're getting Meta above VWAP. Amazon's above VWAP. Softy. Google's always been. So is Meta. So is NVIDIA. So is Tesla. It's really only Apple who's south of the volume-weighted average price. That's the only one right now. So, jeez. All right. What are we going to do here? We top out here. I think we make a lower high. Quite frankly, I don't think we breach this high over here. I think it's going to be 3 successive lower highs. I don't have anything to prove that, obviously, but that's just an instinct of mine. I don't think we get up to 20,000. So what are we going to do here about that? So I'm looking at Apple, because I kept saying I'd like to short Apple at these levels. Now Apple is at 21s. Decisions. Katina, man, how do you feel about these markets? You still bullish or bearish right now? Yeah, right now, like generally right now. How you feeling? The Katina man short Starbucks and Shopify. You still long the TQQs though, eh? You finished. He's out of that. Well, that was a big one. What I'm trying to ask is like your sentiment on the market. That's what I'm trying to weasel a question there, Katina man. Yeah, I'm unsure exactly with these looks right here. It's just taking the stronger name. Urso says NVIDIA is green again. NVIDIA is up 4%, my man. NVIDIA was not red on the day. NVIDIA has that huge catalyst coming out of China. Well, not out of China, but that they're going to make these I believe it's called the H2. No, the B200, the B20. Excuse me, the B20, which is a substitute for their Blackwell for export to China. So it's up big. And all microchips except really SMCI as a group on my watch list are all green. SMCI is the only one that's red, 1.5%. I'm still looking at this market over here, Ram. Let's just show them exactly because we're moving up almost into 20,000 now. We have had 3 successively lower highs. If we basically close out like this, it'll be 3 lower highs on these pops into that 20,000 area. I just don't want to short it a little bit too early. We're going to see what we get once we get into 20,000. Now, if we make a new high, thank you, Adair, appreciate that. If we do get into 20,000 and break and continue above, well, then obviously my thesis is wrong and I won't act upon that. That's why I'm waiting a little bit to see what we do. We're not that far. We're about 14 points away from 14,000. Excuse me, from 20,000. So yeah, it's an interesting look at the moment. NVIDIA still very much curling into that local resistance area at 122.75. And Softy's just been heading up the entire time, really. It's been recovering quite well after that low that it printed at 11.45. Subsequent to that, it's just been continually higher highs and higher lows. So good look for the soft one there. But yeah, I'm just, I'm not believing in this futures pop here. So I'm still looking short. And most specifically, I'm looking to take Apple short if we do get that 20,000 touch and reject on the futures. But I'm just going to pack my patience right now. Wait for that to come in, Adair.
But yes, I am here. Hello, sorry, I'm back now. Thank you, Sharif, for taking over there for a moment. SPY triple top or quadruple top here. So I'll look at before the lesson.
I can take over for a bit while you set up for the lesson. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, we just had, I saw this, I want to talk about this. Sure. It's actually kind of in a range, 551.40 to 554.40 at $3 range. Shout out to Big Smile Burdett, who I know shorted this triple top earlier. Now trying to make a quadruple top at a slightly lower high, so keep an eye on these looks. Very pleased as punch to have my coffee now, so we're going to be a little bit more alert. And yeah, basically not going to take many trades right now, if any trades right now. Again, the trading today has been a little bit meh, and based on my tired trade rules, I am certainly not going to rush into anything. That is for darn sure. That being said, this Tesla 250.50 is intriguing to me. Like I said, that was a level I was deeply fascinated by. We had a huge rejection here earlier. Then we reject. Now we come up, we push up with that green candle. Now we're trying to bounce. We're also getting a bit of a bearish engulfing though. So there's a couple different things you want to keep an eye on. Not sure if I am, enough of a legal mind right now, a legal eagle to look at the balance, the evidence, make the correct verdict on these trades. Sharif knew where I was going with that. But to press another button before we start the lesson, you have 40 minutes, about the length of an episode of Law and Order, ironically, to vote. Get involved, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker you like. Maybe it's TSLA, maybe NKE. You want to see that run to the upside. Maybe it's the TQs. We're going to hear about Sean and Sharif's trades on that. Maybe you want to see AAPL. Whatever ticker, maybe you want to see the Big Apple. Whatever ticker you're interested in, put it there in that chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker. Also, Big Smile Burdett confirming he is looking short again at that level. His alert just went off. So shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. He says they're rinsing it today on the SPY. So shout out to that. Hopefully you're able to take some profit on that move. Shout out to Hydration Nation because that button was pressed earlier today. And why not? Let's talk here about gaps. Because maybe there's a gap in your knowledge about gaps. Maybe you want to learn more. And so let's find out here about this market. So let's talk about introduction to gaps. What are gaps? Gaps are basically, imagine a price chart. Normally, the price bars will move up and down, recording trading activity throughout a period, but sometimes there's a jump, a blank space, shout out to Taylor Swift, where no trading happened. I said it very begrudgingly.
Damn, Madeira, that came from a dark spot there, eh? Like that was like, you're usually not dark. You're usually quite pleasant. You're a pleasant person from like, from early to late.
I'm always
but that was intense right there, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
I like it.
I appreciate that you like that. But yeah, maybe this blank slate is where you want to write your name. Another shout out to that person. But this is where this blank space where no trading activities happened. That's going to be a gap. And it signifies a price difference between the closing price of one period and the opening price of the next. Here's a gap. I love that it says gap. This is a bullish gap. You've got some la-di-da, ho-di-hum price action, then we pop higher. So great look here. And actually get a bit of a bull flag or a flat top break if I were to analyze further. So this gap, start of a new bullish trend. Sorry, trend, I moved to a restraining order. Now, why do these gaps happen? Think of gaps as a sudden shift in supply and demand. News events like earnings, for example, or major economic releases happening outside market hours can trigger, well, earnings also always happen at outside market hours, so either after market close or before the open, right? So that's one example of why things can gap. A lot of these small cap gappers will get some kind of catalyst right before or right after, before open, after close, to give you a little bit of a pop-up or a move there. These events, though, can trigger a buying or selling frenzy when the market reopens, which can cause the price to gap up, open higher, or gap down, open lower compared to the previous close. So not all gaps are created equal. Breakaway gaps are going to occur when the price jumps above resistance or below support, which can potentially signal a trend breakout. Here's one example. You got your consolidation period, then you've got your breakaway gap to the upside with pretty significant increase in volume, showing a change in the trend. Also, oh, hi, it's previous Dara and Sharif, chilling there in the corner. Here's another example of a bearish breakaway gap. This is interesting too. Instead of this one where we had a bit more of consolidation before breakout, this we have a full bullish trend, and then we break away to the downside. This is a bit of a different gap look. What about exhaustion gaps? These ones are going to appear at the end of a strong trend, and they can indicate a loss of momentum and a potential trend reversal. Hence the name, it gets a little bit tired, it runs out of breath, and it needs a change in the tides. So here we have two exhaustion gaps. We have one, try to recover higher, nope, can't do it, and we get increasing volume in both cases. Now what about an exhaustion gap on the bull side? Here we have this bullish exhaustion gap, then we end up gapping, popping higher, and moving up. What are common gaps? These are to be more frequent and they fill up pretty quickly. They have minimal impact on the overall trend for the most part. We see a lot of these every day. Maybe something gets an upgrade, gets a price target increase, we go up a couple percentages. Those are usually going to be more common average gaps. Here's one example of a common gap. Continued uptrend, get a little bit of a pop-up, keep on moseying to the upside. Here's another example of a common gap. We actually have quite a few. This is a range. Oh, I almost did it into Derek Panera. Push back there, I like that. The range here with these common gaps. What about island gaps? These are surrounded by trading activity on both sides, and they don't necessarily predict a strong directional move. So these are cool tier. You know, no man is an island, but some gaps are islands. I forgot about that song. We have, you were singing that earlier too. We have here some island gaps. These are just kind of near the top of the trend. They gap up, they gap down. Not a ton happening, though they do have increased volume like we see with a lot of these gaps. What about as well, here's another example of an island gap. You've got an uptrend, you gap up, then you have gap two to the downside. The island breaks up, it gets a little bit of a change in the tide there. Island pun very intended. And then we go back to normal scheduled programming. Are gaps reliable? But they're not always. They can be misleading. Like we said, common gaps. Now that's one thing Sharif and I talked a lot about before we did previous gap lessons. Yes. We were like, we have to really be careful with common gaps because they are, as their name implies, a bit more common. Yeah. So, those can be a little bit unreliable. There's also false breakouts, which are worth noting. Breakaway gaps can sometimes lead to the price quickly reversing, which can create a false breakout. What about market noise? Gaps can be influenced by temporary news or events or rumors that do not necessarily reflect a longer-term trend or an actual change in the fundamentals. So how can we use gaps effectively? Confirmation is key. You never want to base your decisions on one aspect of the chart, gaps included. You want to make sure you're looking for confirmation from other technical indicators, for example, volume or moving averages. Volume does matter to transition into that. High trading volume alongside a gap strengthens the signal significance can show a louder, pun intended, change in the trend the more volume you have. What is well about gap filling? Gap filling is worth noting because the price can return to fill the gap in the future, which can offer potential entry or exit points or just levels of interest. Let's say, oh, if we have this gap area, if we're coming back to that gap, that can be an area of interest for you. But remember, gaps are just one piece of a very large puzzle of the overall market. You want to use them alongside other TA or technical analysis tools and proper risk management to make a perfect trading decision on the balance of the evidence.
Shout out to you, Adara. Yeah, I think I've been shorting the future here, but I just feel like there's just too much strength in this market. So we're profitable on it at the moment, but I'm ending my trade here. If I paper-handed it, I paper-handed it. I know we're hanging out at these levels, but we're not really breaking down on many of the Mag 7 names, so it has me a little bit worried. In fact, Google's continue to pop up. So I'm out of this short, profitable on this specific short. I think I'm profitable on TQs too. Let me just double check. Yes, I am. I'm not profitable on the day, but I am profitable on the TQQQ, so we'll continue to keep an eye on this one as we've been at this zone for a while. So I got out of it. Now, if we really tank, I will get back into it. But what I'm seeing are bottoming tail candles, these doji candles that seem to be bought up by bids. And you're seeing NVIDIA also hold up above the 10 exponential. You're seeing Tesla hold up above 10 exponential. Google's printing days high. Microsoft is at local high. Meta just got into 489. Amazon's above VWAP, but definitely not able to break that 184. So I was like, dude, there's just too many things pointing in the direction of the up. The only one really was NVIDIA showing me a couple of red candles, but it was still above the 10 exponential. So I'm like, no. That's enough of that. And we'll take that one out. I don't think I have the right idea. I think I wanted to see this idea, which was 3 consecutively lower highs on the future and a 20,000 rejection. I think I fell in love with that idea and I started seeing what I wanted to see. So lucky that I didn't get punched in the face on that because I think the future's on the way up. What's up? What happened? Okay. Jeez, I got scared. All right, so keeping my eye on that. Not much else. I mean, like, I only usually trade Mag 7s, and they're kind of all in a bit of a lull today, so keep an eye on that. CMAX, okay, so this one really starting to go here. It really broke through all these levels. So we were talking about CMAX being stuck in a range. Woo! That changed in a quick second there. 360, well, 3 2/3 to the low side. 4.5 to the high side. That was until this candle came in right at 1245. The fury, all the might of the buyers broke that key level that we were in before $5. And this candle had 4 million shares. And that was the biggest move or the biggest candle for volume that we've had since basically 1025 when we made that previous high day. So this one, 6 2/3. HOD, it's putting incrementally higher highs and higher lows. I would say to you, it's getting a bit extended off that 664 high, while the 10 exponential is $1 lower at 561. So I'd like to see at least a bit of a closer pull into the 10 exponential to see exactly what we could get maybe on a dip trade there. Cassava Sciences continuing to head lower. So Neil was nice enough to get me shorts on these, but I was not alive to the fact that these ones, it's basically stair-stepping. It's doing the stair-step, right? So you have this area as a support prior to that. So all the, 11.15 to 12.15 candles hold above the volume weighted average price. Then we break down. Then we use VWAP as that level of resistance. Now I'll be looking to use the 50 exponential as that level of resistance as we step down incrementally here on Cassava Sciences. You always want to cheer and pound the desk for a catalyst like this with respect to Alzheimer's, but price action is what it is. And so I'll be definitely looking for a mean reversion, kind of like we've seen every single time on these ones, popping back into support, goes back into resistance, finally breaks support, uses previous support as resistance, and so on and so forth. So right now, looking like it's continuing to do that same thing with lower highs and lower lows. On Cassava Sciences, the bottom really coming off there, trying to hold 12 at the moment. But yeah, that is the look there. So the future does end up retracing a little bit, and I would have been okay, not much better than where we are at the moment, but we're still holding up near these highs on the future, so I don't want to jump into the short on any of the Mag 7 names quite yet. Look at Apple. What the hell is Apple doing? Look at this. This is unusual here on Apple. There's definitely a seller at Friday's closing print at 2/3, 224 and a third. How many successive candles now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lucky number 7. Rejecting off that 224 and a third. Look, you know, I could say, okay, look, it's putting in higher lows. It's going to be a flat top break. I just don't think that that's going to be the case today on Apple. If we do, great. If we don't, we'll take it right back down again, Adair.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure there that we are. Oh, there we go. I just tried our new buttons. Yes, so we're trying to make sure we're very careful with everything there for anything you want to enter, because things have been bamboozling. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm not trading anything right now. I am a little bit more tired. I don't really trust my read on stuff, so I don't want to rush into anything. Made some decisions earlier, and I have been trying to implement my tired trade rules. So part of that is not trading when tired and when one does not have the best read on the markets. That's what's going to be happening there for me right now. Tesla, though, deeply fascinating. That 250-50 area has been huge for me to watch. I think sometimes when you take a back seat, like let's say you get benched there, you're like, the coach is like, pull off, got to sit in the sidelines. You end up learning a lot. One thing I've kind of learned here is that this Tesla 250-50 is kind of a little bit of a different area that I want to be kind of aware of. This, we had a little bit of support, we had a bit of resistance, and yeah, it's been certainly an interesting area. So SPY, though, I want to look at as well, because shout out to Big Spile, our pal over there, who said he liked that quadruple top. The quadruple top did, in fact, come in, but we are seeing some bottoming tail candles. Hopefully you've been printing, though I know you have, Big Spile Burdette. But if there's any tickers you've been printing on, you've got 25 minutes left. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers you're fancy to get involved. Go in the sim today since you're tired, says Day Trader Cut. I don't mind that advice and I consider that. The reason I'm not, though, is I still think that would, to me, violate the whole principle of not trading when tired, if that makes sense. My whole thing is I treat the sim like how I treat the normal trading. And so I think if I trade while tired in the sim, I'm going to be honest, I still feel like that's violating my principles. But I really appreciate bringing that up, Day Trader Cut. I always love answering these questions because it really helps me to realize, why am I doing these things? Why is this what I'm thinking? So shout out to you, Day Trader Cut. I think I'm just gonna have to cut the trading until I feel more awake or deeply confident in something. Like I said as well, don't have as much risk to go on either, because I made some questionable trades, but I'm always going to learn to work on things because that's what you do. That's how you get better. CrowdStrike getting mentioned quite a bit here.
Of course.
Yeah, CrowdStrike, I was standing out from the crowd in a bad way on this, had some positive trades, lost it in one negative trade, which I took with too much size, but this one has actually been a bit rangy, holding on to this bottom here. Like I said, if we could hold above 262, that was a decent look on the daily chart. CrowdStrike 262 has certainly been one that we've been holding on to. Bit of resistance here at 266, which was, yeah, as you can see here, rejected quite a few times. Still a bit rangy here on CrowdStrike, but hopefully, you're able to not strike out if you try to take this one. Slightly lower lows here with a bit of a flat top. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what we do from here on this year market with those levels. I see you're in a trade though.
Yeah, I know. Let me, because Ram wants to take a bit of a break. So I'm long on the future because NVIDIA broke the high. And is continuing to move into 123. I'm also seeing some good green candles coming on Meta, and Apple still at the range. And my only concern that's keeping me a little worried is the soft one. It's rejecting off 443 and change there, so that could easily bring the market down. It's the second biggest name. I don't know what the weighting is right now. But NVIDIA is looking like it's heading, I don't know. Here it broke through the range that it had been established all day. Essentially, this 122.75 range has been in play. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're getting any really decided move here on this future. So I am a little bit concerned at these levels. I'm not going to lie, like, because, you're trying to take trades, do the best we can up here. But yeah, so let's pack our patience on this and see what comes. We'll put in the beak wetter a little bit above that area. Okay, Apple's breaking up here, 224.5 on the dead one, and that could easily, in combination with NVIDIA, could boost up the market softy or not. We're gonna have to wait and see over here. The dead one is breaking through the $0.50, so the umpteen amount of accumulation that was happening at 224 and a third finally breaks. It does break the half dollar. A lot of selling though. It's below the half dollar right now. 54s it was able to print there at the highs, but I don't know if this is going to really support my future move, as we're still essentially break even at the moment. We're 1 penny out of the money at 74.03s, but I think that we are going to get a bit of a rejection here, at least it looks like. But Apple continuing to pump to the high side. So there it is. It goes right back above that half dollar again on AAPL. But Microsoft definitely headed down into 442.5, at least it looks like at the moment, which is where the 10 exponential on the 5 is hanging out. This is the soft one up here, and there is the 10 exponential. Let's see if it finds a bit of a bid. We're also seeing a topping tail candle on Apple right now, possibly, and on Nvidia. So this might not be a good position to be in. We're only 4 pennies out of the money. Nothing's really happened here. I'm just trying to gauge what direction the market wants to be headed into. And, you know, your guess is likely as good as mine here, because we're long on these futures looking for a move up through 20,000. We know that 20,026 is the HOD, but now as I look, there's a topping tail candle coming in on the futures, and this is not what I want to see. So now we're 8 pennies out of, well, now we're 5 pennies out of the money again. We zig and zag a little bit. I'm seeing a topping tail candle on Meta. Microsoft is still above the 10 exponential, so much indecision for me at this moment. Tesla right back at 251 again, but if I had to guess, just based on the fact that we've been hanging out at this level over here, we probably tank. What kept me in the trade were these top bottoming tail candles on the future. Now we're kind of getting the exact opposite of that. So we had 3 bottoming tail candles, 15 minutes basically of buyers buying this up, trying to push it into highs. Just like that, we flip, and now we have a topping tail candle with buyers trying to push this bad boy back down. So much bamboozlement, I guess, right now in these markets. I'm going to have to pack my patience, but now I'm 10 pennies out of the money, 9 pennies out of the money on this as we zig and zag a little bit, and I'm unsure exactly what happens here. Jay Lee says, get out of that triple Q short and get short. Yeah, I'm too stubborn for that, Jay. That's the thing. I can't flip and flop like that. That's just not my personality. So I'd rather go down with the ship, and that's just kind of how I feel there. I don't want to change my opinion all that quickly, because it kind of puts into question my analysis prior. So no, I'm not going to get out, and I'd rather get stopped out. And my stop is going to be through the break of 73.80. So we're going to have to give that a little bit of room as we'll look to 73. Yeah, oops. I typed that in wrong. So we're going to get out at 79. I always want to give it a little bit of room there on this name. So there we go. And we'll give it that. We're still zigging and zagging at 74s. Apple is back above the half dollar. Microsoft looks like it is holding the 10 exponential on the 5. And really, Nvidia is the only one of candle of indecision right now. So I'm going to pack my patience. Ram's back. And so that is a good look there. What else we got? What is everybody looking at? DJ, no, we are not trading in the demo. This is live. This is real money. There's nothing demo about this. But, you know, we're going to take share size that's appropriate to our account. And the fact that we're live, we have to do the lessons. We have to talk to you guys in the chat. And so we risk manage like that. So here we go. Let's see what we get here on said future as we weasel our way up a little bit here. Let's see if we can print some 11s or 10s or something like that. Come on, bro. Like, why do you not film me when I ask to be filmed? Here we go. Let's see if we get
being a punk?
It is a punk, Kadera. There we go. We'll get a little bit of a beak wetter. We're still below 20,000.
Trying to help you.
I love it. I'm not. You think I'm going to complain about that?
Work.
Yeah, there we go. Make the dream work, baby. All right, let's go, Fuge. We're nicely in the money on this monster. Now let's see if we can weasel our way a little bit higher here, Adair.
I took a trade. I am happy. We did not win on the trade, but I'm happy I got it where I did. Because so Google, I liked, and we were at the 90 MA, but we had this topping tail candle, watched it for a while, was like, hey, we're at 182.40s, try to take this short. We couldn't get any lower than 182.33s. I got involved at 37, so the most I would have taken was 3 or 4 pennies. There we go. That's what ended up happening there. Then I saw we got up into 40s to dare get out. Like I said, really not much to risk. Then I ended up leaving that trade. Also, I want to shout out Ricky Peters for saying, basically shouting out Sharif's recommend, just what he had to say there about, oh my God, let me find this comment here because I saw this earlier. What Sharif had to say definitely making sense with regards to why he wanted to stick with that trade. And I agree with that. You know, we've talked a lot about this with and Sharif said this, and I've always really, this is something I've learned a lot from, whatever gets you in the trade should get you out of the trade. if your plan for the trade was to be like, hey, I want to get in for this reason, get out for that reason, you should stick to that plan. And that's why I've changed my trading style considerably. Instead of looking for these hard like dollar in and outs or these stop losses or profit takers, instead, if I'm getting in based on what I'm seeing in the book and the tape, I want to get out for the same reason. That's what I hear in Google, and that's why I really like what Sharif had to say on that. Getting out when you're getting stopped out, not changing your plan, because I think being able to stick to your plan is huge, something I'm definitely still working on, and it was something I absolutely wanted to shout out. Also, I want to shout out here Darwin in the chat giving us those expected moves for the earnings tomorrow. These can change, but right now you have Spotify plus or minus 10.4%, UPS plus or minus 5.1%, GE plus or minus 5.8, GM plus or minus 5.2, Coke plus or minus 1.9, and Lockheed Martin plus or minus 3%. Let's take a look at Spotify, the largest expected move by far tomorrow. Let's see if X marks the spot on Spotify. So yeah, thank you, Darwin, for putting those expected moves in the chat. No big earnings tonight, though, but tomorrow night we've got a whopper. We have Google and we have Tesla, 2 Mag 7 names, so that'll be certainly one to check out. Spotify today not doing too much, but let's take a look at the daily chart to see what we're wading into for tomorrow. For earnings, Spotify, I see you. I see you. Spotify at this 288 level, kind of interesting to me. We had a couple price target increases and an analyst downgrade heading into these earnings. You can see a little bit more of a thorough analysis on this on the week ahead to plug that a little bit, which you can check out. But we have a bit of a rounded top here, bit of a frowny face on Spotify. We are below the 90 EMA. Wicked, pun intended, because we wicked. Wicked, pun wasn't intended, but it worked. Wicked candle here, a wicked topping tail into this 300 area, then coming back below into 293s, lower highs, lower lows on this here chart. But it is worth noting the support at 288s. That's the level I think could be interesting heading into earnings tomorrow. If you're looking at this stock or any others, get in that chat and vote. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it's Spot, maybe it's GE, maybe it's GM, maybe you want to see Google and or Tesla and or both heading into their earnings tomorrow. But definitely get in there and let us know, because we don't know if you don't vote. In this time of an American election, democracy is so important, and we believe in democracy here in this here chat, in this Trader TV Live community.
Absolutely.
Got to make sure your voice is heard, or we can't hear your voice. Shout out to Real Trading. How are you doing?
Great. We took that future long out. It ended up working out. We did get a breach of 20,000. Now the local high over here is 20,014, I believe. Let me just double check that. 13.5. 20,000, 13.5. That's not the high of day or the overnight high. It is the local high. Alas, it is still lower than the previous top. So we could absolutely flush from here. We'll have to wait. Here's what I'm talking about. Look at this bad boy that we printed at 1040. It says 940 on the chart, but we all know that's Central Time. So that takes us all the way up to 20,018.75. How high do we get up over here? 20,013.5. So now we have 3 successively lower crests, okay? Even though we breached 20,000, we're below it right now. So we could absolutely flush here on the future. And what I'll be looking for is the break of this bottoming tail consolidation area zone on said NQ September contract. Here's what I mean. So we know for certain there was buyer right over here, 19,968. Look, how many candles had wicking bottoms right off that level? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one didn't quite make it, but this one almost. So 5. So if we break and hold below that level, I think we get a definite nice reversion back down at least. I'm not saying we're going to go all the way back to the low of day at 19.8, but we could make it, reasonably into 19,920, which is where VWAP is hanging out. It's also not beyond the realm of possibility to retrace back into 19.9, which we know is Friday's closing print. That's all predicated upon 20,000 giving way now. So we're going to have to pack our patience and watch. I saw the dead one absolutely fly up there through that 224.40 that it had been had a consolidation area top on for a hot minute, and then was ranging at 50s, and then we got all the way to 225. But look at the vigor with which it's selling. All the way back down to 224.75. Lots of selling. Couldn't even manage to reach VWAP. Well, not yet anyway. 225.50. is where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. We do have price action resistance there. And again, a lot is made of these closing prints.
AMC.
What's
There's some
happening?
AMC news apparently. Neil, thank you for putting this in the chat. AMC to restructure debt load using theaters to support deal. What the? AMC? Yeah, AMC, giant, oh my gosh, giant volume flush here.
Oh my God.
And big candle to the downside. Interestingly enough, coming around VWAP, sorry to cut you off.
No, this is way more important,
huge.
Adara. It's just zigging and zagging, though. How long is this $5 going to be a thing on AMC? This feels like weeks and weeks now we've been talking about $5.
Yeah.
Remember when they were moving, we were using it as, well, I was using it as support.
Yeah, you were using, I mean, let's look, if you look at the daily chart, I'm sure we'll see that, oh.
Well, the daily chart's got its own ideas right now.
It does. I'm sure we'll see some, I'm sure we'll get 5 on it, though.
Sure,
if we get
I like that. There
5
you go.
on it.
I love that.
But yeah, AMC certainly has had 5 on it for quite some time. Let's take a look here on this AMC daily chart. Yeah, I mean, like we said, massive volume candle right now on the 5-minute with that news. But here on the daily, yeah, this 5 is, Sharif called it, definitely been an area of top and churn. I mean, look, you're right. We've been in basically a bit of a bull flag range for the past, since May 16th. We've been more or less consolidating.
I mean, like I've been saying, like, what the hell?
You're right. No, I'm just saying, but when you see on the daily chart, it's even more horrifying. It's like, AMC, what are you doing? Bruh is the right word. It's kind of like,
yeah, like decide.
The breeze.
Yeah, like
make up your mind. Pick a side. Pick a lane.
Gracious.
Sorry, Trenda, I'm like sloshing you around.
You
But
don't
yeah,
have to price
back
it,
to
Trenda.
Apple.
Don't apply just to Trenda.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Where'd you get that one? I like that one, Ray. I'm gonna have to get that. No, seriously though. What was I talking about?
Apple.
Apple. Thank you, Adara. Yes, 225. And this is an important level right over here because I know these institutional prints at 8 a.m., you know, there's a lot made of them and different, you know, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, both the closing and the opening print of these institutional prints that come in at 8 a.m. both bottomed out at 225. And lo and behold, we are finding local resistance there. So not something that I often use, but something just to be aware of. Now, if we do break above 225 over here, on a closing basis, that will be an interesting long on Apple because then, I mean, we're looking obviously at 225.50 before the next resistance level at VWAP, but I would submit to you the real resistance level is going to be in this consolidation area over here at 226.25. We had so much range in regular market trading hours. Now, this is not the pre-market. Where 226.25, 226 area was being bought up. So if we clear 225 in a closing basis, I like that level, and I likely will take it long. So good look right now, recovering off the lows, but still very, I don't want to say negative on the day because up quarter point, but weaker is AAPL. We're still keeping an eye on the future because we haven't distinctly gave up that 19,000 level, whether to the high side or the low side right now. Kind of an area of indecision, a few points above it, a few points below it, looking at some of these Mag 7 names to kind of glean where the futures could head. And, you know, all the strong Mag 7 names are holding the 10 exponential on the 5. Google's really the only one that's not holding the 10 exponential on the 5 right now. So lots of strength in Mag 7. So if you had to base your futures analysis, not just on the price action on the future, but what the Mag 7 is doing, I feel it's still looking a little bit more bullish at the moment, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to get in right away willy-nilly. So keeping an eye on that. I'm also setting up a short on Cassava Sciences, this $12 1232, 1225, we know is a consolidation area low, so I will be looking in and around that area. You want to go for a bit of a walk?
Yes,
Sure?
I'm okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Do your thing. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. Sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, no worries. I just had to make sure that for the green screen, just making sure we're all good there. What else are we looking at? Yeah, let's bring in the Mag 7 again, man, because I think we're going to have to take a trade on here. There goes NVIDIA right back into those local highs again. So much confusion at these levels. Yeah, I'm just not going to trade the futures at the moment right now, Adara, because there's just too much difference between some of these Meg 7 names. Like, I mean, Meta's retracing the VWAP. You have Google retracing into the 20. Got Apple trying to hold that $0.50 area. So much indecision. What are you guys looking at? Tell me what you guys are looking at. Rivian Millionaire, we're going to finish the day 20,100 on the NASDAQ futures, bro. Hey, man, I'm good with that. That's a 100-point move from where we're at right now. So can't say no to that. Mira, people keep talking about Mira. Oh, wow. What the hell did Amazon just do there? Amazon popped up big, 184.25. Good move here for Amazon as it breaks out of that range. So we'll keep an eye on the future. But Mira is being talked about. Yeah, it can't stay open because it's a halt fest. And we made the point about this one earlier. That's kind of the nature of some of these ones. They can't seem to stay open. Well, they're so heavily, they're such a small float and they're so heavily traded. This one does have about 11 million share flow, 10.988 million there, but still above volume weighted average price. Nothing for me on Mira at the moment. The one that I will be looking at is Cassava Sciences to set up the short. So let's go ahead and do that now.
Was that a pun? Mira, the one I'm looking at?
No, that's actually, oh, does it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And that does make sense because mirror, right? Yeah. Oh.
Mira on the chart.
I like it.
Who's the stock to win your heart?
Well, you know, if I fall in love with a stock there, you might have to have me, you know.
Maybe an issue.
Yeah, it might be a problem. Might be a problem.
Just maybe.
I can jail. I don't think it's that bad, Ram. Like, it's kind of worrying, you know. But she's just mad because I don't like Trenda. That's why.
I was just saying jail. Speaking of jail, you know, Trenda does have a restraining order.
Well, yeah. Well, look, Adara, remember we made the point that in order for a restraining order to be effective, I have to have an opportunity to face my accuser.
In restraining order,
I didn't have
for
an
it to be
opportunity.
effective.
AMC's halted, says Neil. I'm looking to see if there's...
tap.
Is it a volatility halt?
I think.
I don't think so.
Can't tell.
I don't think that's a volatility halt. This is probably news pending. Yeah, it's news pending. Here it is. AMC shares halted pending news. There it is. That came in at 41. That was about 4 minutes ago, guys. So this is not a volatility halt. This is a pending news halt. We made this point earlier because this one doesn't have a halt time of increments of 5, 10, 15, etc. No, this could be your guess as good as mine. So keeping an eye on this one, but very much still interested in the short of Cassava Sciences, hence why I pulled this one up. I'm going to put it at 33s. We're going to look to go short $12.33. We'll put that there to defend this previous area of support. Everything good, Neil? Neil saying that AMC did not show up on his halt screen. Maybe because it's not news pending. It's or maybe it's not a volatility, it's a news pending. No idea. We'll have to keep an eye on that. What Neil is talking about is having a scanner that just looks out for stocks that are halted, right? So, you know, you look for stocks that are gapping up a certain percentage, gapping down. You can set up your scanner in whatever way you want. Neil's got a halt scanner. Sean has a VWAP scanner. Anything making its way back to or down to VWAP on the Meg 7, he gets alerts of that. That's all available on Trade Ideas. If you guys want to use that, use TraderTV 20 as your code to get 20% off it, Dara.
Yeah, so it's Trade Ideas. If there's any trade ideas you have, you want anyone to look at, go involved in the chat right now. Exclamation point, join space, $, and maybe it's AMP, maybe it's Gimma, maybe it's Sava, maybe it's Microsoft, maybe it's Mira. Good to give the small caps some love too. Get involved in that chat.
Bang.
Maybe it's NOS. Maybe you want to know what NOS is like. Get involved in that chat. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. I want to look at GME here as a potential AMC sympathy play. I mean, yeah, certainly popping higher here. Beautiful VWAP bounce with some of these little wicks here. Volume on this is not bad, about 8.5 million shares traded on the day, trying to break above this previous high of day, into which we've had several wicks, that 25.35 currently. New high of day here, just shy of 25.50. So good look here for Gimme. So let's see what you know, if it gimme gives you some more moves to the upside. That made sense. Let's see what else, though, we have going on here. AMD I have in my side chart. Like, sorry, guys, I haven't really been trading this afternoon. I have a whole rule to not trade while super tired. And also with the fact that I did make some questionable decisions earlier in the day, I think it's better to just sit back until I see something I like. AMC kind of rangy, though, in a way that I love. 148, 154, 80 bounce here off VWAP. once, twice, three times. Definitely been a rejection here at 155.50. So you got about 70 pennies of range. Not too shabby here for AMD, giving you that and some candles. Risking, honestly, if you can risk about 10 pennies on this short, and that's not a bad look. Not obviously advice, just my take on the chart. The highest we kind of get here is like that going to be 150, what is this, like just shy of 155.60. So this range, a great look. But right now, we're struggling with the 9 EMA, which is actually complete with the fact we had a bit of a doji here earlier. Let's see what AMD does at 155.10s. Interesting look. What else are people looking at here? Amazon finally, says Asta. Let's see how this one's swinging from the jungle. Let's see what way Zos Amazon is going right now. Oh.
Pamp it.
This is beautiful. I mean, Amazon's saying pamp it too, Sharif.
All right,
also,
get it,
you're
Amazon.
pamping it here in the Apple.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Pample. But yeah, Amazon gave you a bit of a range at a bit of a flat bottom break here. We baby quadunk, a little baby dump, into 182.80. Then we come back up here into that previous bottom from which we quadunked. 183.30. Then we have honestly from that 183.30 point, it's going to be around 12.20 since then. We've had a nice steady uptrend. Then we fly here on Amazon, getting that express delivery to the upside. I would love to see what we do here at 184.60, which was that previous high of that kind of flat bottom breakish area, complete with a topping tail candle. We're about 22 pennies away from that level right now in AMZ. And also your last chance to vote.
Yeah.
Exclamation point,
1 minute.
space, $sign, whatever tickers are fancy. Maybe it's Apple. Maybe you want to see what's pampling. Oh my gosh, Tesla. Hello. Hello, Cybertruck. This roadster going 0 to 100 real quick.
Dang.
Real quick there. Shout out to Drake. Great look here. That 250 area has been deeply fascinating. We're about $1.50, almost $2 out from that area, currently at highs of days. Beautiful look, but I want to hear how your pample went.
It went well, Adair. We took that break there ahead of the 90s. I'm sorry about the distortion over here because you know how these are. Our lovely wicks are distorting. So we got long, I believe, low 90s. We covered there through the break of 25. I think we were covered at 09s or so, but it's zigging and zagging right now. At 225. So it's not like an area that I had really an eye on. It said, oh, you know, we rejected off this $225 area on Apple. Not really. We didn't do a whole lot at 225 today, at least on the way down. So, you know, it's not one that I've really had too much of an eye on. But again, going back to these 8 a.m. institutional prints, for whatever reason, and whatever you make of these 8 a.m. prints, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but it is coinciding exactly with the low end of those prints, this 225 area. Make of that what you will. It's up 1/3%, between 1/4 and 1/3 right now on AAPL. Yeah, well, we're at 20,000. So I saw everybody's pumped, you know, we're about to break the high of the day, this, that, and the other, but we're still not breaching this 1040 print at 20,018. We've done well, 20,016, it's fantastic, but there's still lower highs in effect right now when it comes to the future. And whether you're looking at the wicks or the closing prints, we're still lower than what we have done before. So even though we've recovered nicely, we're still not really out of trouble. So keeping an eye on these names, and definitely still very interested here on Cassava Sciences, but it looks like Cassava doesn't want... Go. I see it.
So yeah, apparently,
I see it. Here it is.
Oh,
I got it. Here it is. AMC Entertainment Holdings announces collaborative refinancing transactions extended up to $2.45 billion of debt maturities from 2026 to 2029 and beyond. Wow, this company's burdened. But what are they going to do? Just shut shop? I mean, like, that's the thing. People are not going to the movies as much, and there aren't enough movies this year because of the strike last year. The SAG, what is it called? SAG-AFTRA. Thank you. The union for actors, and you know, to be part of that union, you have to have a certain amount of hours worked per year to have health insurance. You have to make 25 grand. With them, so it's not just anybody can join that union willy-nilly. It's actually tough to get in, believe it or not.
You have to have a certain amount of acting, qualified acting jobs. I love reading the things that you need.
Wow, Ram is dropping hot lines.
And that might only be tech.
Well,
I know for acting, you have to. Ramin was saying it for acting, the acting union as well. It might be that you need a reference from someone in the union. I know the funniest thing is looking at the list and finding out what jobs the actors got their card on, because sometimes it's like some really weird jobs.
Well, I heard you have to have a Broadway experience as well.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I swear, I'm not making it up. They're saying you have to have been on a Broadway play. Interesting. So it's not easy to do that. Anyway, make a long story, we're digressing. There hasn't been enough in the pipeline. Now we know, a lot of things too is what mini-series are being made instead of movies. So rather than have a story take 3 hours at most at the theater, now you can have it last months at a time. So there's trouble with that industry. Make of that what you will, but that really goes beyond the intraday trade of the day. But that is the headline there from AMC. Here it is. Theater chain reaches new debt financing deal, and obviously 2.45 billion maturities 2026, 2029, and beyond. You always hope for them to do well, but you never really know exactly how that's all going to figure out. We can take everything a little bit lighter right now. How was your weekend?
My weekend is pretty good.
Good?
Yeah, I got some stuff done. It was nice. My family's actually in town for a bit, so that was nice. Got to see them.
Wasn't your dad just in town?
He was just in town, but now, so my mom has not been to Toronto for many months, so she's there. My dad's there as well. And yeah, that was nice. Got to see my family for a little bit.
Nice.
It was pretty busy throughout the weekend. Every time I was not actively doing something and sat down for more than 5 minutes, I slept. So good balance. That's why I'm feeling a little bit tired, more on the sleepy side today.
Fair.
But yeah, pretty fun, eventful weekend. Definitely no regrets there. Happy with how the weekend went. Also, I had spicy chicken.
Hold on. How spicy was it?
Okay. So I want to hear about your weekend first, then I can tell this story. Because
I don't even want to hear about my weekend. I want to hear how you dealt with this.
I was like trying to broaden my horizons. I went to this chicken place where you had more spice options, and one of them was no heat. But then the lowest, so like 9 or 10. It was a pretty wide scale.
Fair.
The lowest one was light mild. Mild did not seem that spicy to me.
Okay.
I was like, let's try light mild. It's like maple. I'm like, okay, cool. That was not light mild. They must have heard me wrong.
Yeah.
My mouth was all. I was like screaming. I was in physical pain.
Dara.
Pardon?
They want to troll you.
Right? I was so proud of myself. I was trying to expand my horizons. I should have known it was gonna go awry. My mouth, like literally, the little like nerve endings in my mouth were like.
No way.
Yeah, try new things. Maybe that's a metaphor for risk. Don't do the light mild trade. Yeah. Sometimes you just need no heat. You don't want any of that smoke.
I can just hear you saying it to yourself right now. You're in front. The sandwich is in front of you. You're like, look. If I like this sandwich, I owe it to myself to take a bite out of this sandwich right there. Bang!
That's actually what happened.
Right? Is that actually?
More or less.
No, it isn't.
This is a trading metaphor. That was what I kept telling myself. It's like, it's about taking risks, and then I was like.
I love it. That's so good.
How was your weekend, though?
It was good. We the boys went out on Saturday. We went to Woodbine Beach. We did 10K. That was my first 10K of the season, so I was pumped about that. Played up a storm on the courts yesterday, not the basketball courts, the tennis courts, that is. We played, it was 2 guys, 2 girls. We played mixed singles, mixed doubles. We played doubles, we played singles. Awesome. We were on there for 3 hours, so it was a lot of fun, and I definitely got a nice sweat little in there. I love tennis, Darren, man. I gotta tell you, I really do love it. All right, back to these here markets. I've been watching up a storm on AAPL because it's been ranging at 225 for a hot minute. Again, I'm all eyes about this level because of these 2 prints that we got at 8 a.m. And it's been holding up there since it popped up aggressively at 130. So we're almost 1 hour of ranging at 225 without breaking or rejecting the level. I mean, we broke it on a wick basis, but you can see what these closing prints have done. So that's my look. I'll be watching Apple to see what it does, but definitely the strongest names on the day, no question about it. Tesla and NVIDIA and Mag 7 World, both up and to the dang right. Both have a headline. Both look really good. Adara, Brenda was not going to make it out, so I got to get to the desk to get to the what's it called? The afternoon rundown. So if you didn't join us today by voting, make sure to get your vote in tomorrow, because every day from 2 to 2:20, we look at the names as decided by you. So make sure you have your vote in every day. I'll see everybody at a few minutes.
Yes.
On the big screen.
Definitely let us know here. Also, guys, I thank you so much, Sheree, for everything you do for putting together those lessons. Also happy you were able to serve there on some tennis. Shout out there. But yeah, right now people are asking about the AMC halt. It is a news pending halt. We do not have a current resumption time. And just went on the NYSE halt scanner. I'm going to send that in the chat as well, because you can find out what's going on there. Also, thank you, Ravine Millionaire, for letting us know we have read it up a certain percentage. So let's take a look at RDTY. Speaking of NYSE names, this one up 7. Wowee. Great look here for our DDT. Not a ton of volume increase on this, about pretty standard volume after we got these initial pops in the open, but this is a great look. We bounced off VWAP. We had a bit of a flat bottom fake out here. Instead of a flat bottom break, it was a flat bottom fake out. Lower highs here on VWAP around, what is this, like 67.70. Then we push even higher. Great look. Breaking above that previous area of resistance around that 60, we're just shy of 69 and pushing higher. Really excellent look here for Reddit. Eddie R saying Sharif sometimes sounds so British. He should be Sir Sharif Gabriel. You know, he liked that one. He laughed. So shout out to that. Yeah, thank you, Kanye East. I love your name here. Everyone here is the best. This has been great. Jay, I put it a while back here. What I'm seeing for the top, that was 513, it has not changed. That is what I'm seeing as the theoretical auction price for AMC. That's what I am currently have been seeing. Jorge is saying AMC halted for 15 minutes already. Because it's a news hold, it's a little bit different. We can't get those longer holds. Mira open, says Stan O. So let's take a look here at Mira, pun intended, with Mira being Spanish for look. So I am not the small cap gap extraordinaire. There's going to be, I know Neil and Sharif are very well versed in the small cap gappers. But yeah, I mean, right now for Mira, we're seeing a bit of a consolidation pattern, a little bit different with the small cap, but you're still seeing these higher lows and lower highs here. This has been a bit of a different look on this MIRA. A new view saying, crowd is killing me. Feel you on that. CrowdStrike, definitely. I got a little bit struck out on this earlier. I think right now for CrowdStrike, my take on this anyway, until it proves otherwise, it looks like it's in a bit of a range. We have slightly above that previous low we are going back to around 1010. That 266 being a bit of a top here, bottom of this range, going to be around 263. I think until it proves otherwise, that's what it seems to be doing. I was trying to figure this out here differently. I was trying to take a long off that 265, but it hadn't really proven itself to be that. I would say until it really proves to you that it's breaking out of this pattern, I would treat it as a bit of a range. Again, not advice, just what this chart has been showing. Brandon Housen saying Spanish puns too. Yeah, I like puns in period. I'll make them in whatever language they present themselves. I can't believe it's already 159, guys. Also, as I spoke, CrowdStrike was like, yeah, Dara, I am breaking out. So CrowdStrike breaking above. I would wait for us to bounce at 266 because 266 was that previous top. But right now, we're about topping out for this session of How to Trade. We are going to have to see you guys tomorrow at the same bat time and the same bat channel. We're going to go over to another dynamic duo, though, here. Sean and Neil with Sharif at the green screen. See ya.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon.